Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, everybody. Along with G. Bush, Tyvis Powell, I'm Adam the Bull. We've got Mike, Anthony, Earl, and Steve behind. Well, Earl's up in his perch, but the rest of the guys behind the glass.
Earl is here today.
No, Earl is in Kami's Lookout. That's where he's at.
Where?
Man.
What is it?
Kami's Lookout.
Kami's Lookout. I don't know what that means, but you know.
If you know, you know. Put it in the chat.
You know.
Boy, we got to really expand.
I got to be schooled up a little bit.
We got to expand your horizon.
I think so. I think there's some
like
necessary work. It's all been downhill since the Morris Chestnut situation.
It's hard to come back from that, bro.
It is.
It's tough.
It is.
Like Morris, like that is one of our superheroes.
Yeah, that was a bad drop.
What happened to the black guy or Boys in the Hood, the brother? I said Morris Chestnut.
I did not realize that. In fairness, that's so long ago.
He's in a new. He's
in a movie right now.
He's in a TV show.
Oh,
a
TV
series.
Yeah, what's it called? Like Watson? No.
Yeah, but I don't watch it.
It's like
that's network TV, though. I don't watch
TV. Yeah, what happened in what network TV?
It's going down. They say the NFL the only thing saving network TV.
Oh my God!
Did you see wrestling was on Netflix?
I did see that. I didn't watch it.
I didn't. I had tuned in for like a little second. It's really a no holds bar.
Yeah, it's not a lot of live stuff on Netflix.
What happened?
It's a no holds bar. They in there. Travis Scott smoking and whatnot. I mean, they did everybody. Hulk Hogan got booed.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Hulk Hogan got booed. He was confused. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, hey, what happened to us, man? Like, network TV used to be the thing, man. Remember when TGI Friday used to come on?
That was big.
Man, come on, bro.
Speaking of which, oh man, the oldest. Shoot, I can't. I think it was the oldest brother from. I don't know if they were on Fridays, but remember that show with Tim Allen? You know,
Home Improvement.
Yeah, right. Didn't he have 3 kids in that? Is that the show I'm thinking
Taylor
of?
Thomas.
The
oldest one, but the oldest one. He looked like one of the Backstreet Boys' cousins.
One of them. It wasn't Jonathan Taylor Thomas, I don't think, but one of them just got arrested.
Really?
Down in Florida. Things must not be going well for him.
Hey, them Home Improvement checks.
Yeah.
Speaking of network TV, I woke up this morning. Now, what did Fubo just do? You got Fubo, right?
I do.
So what, they got ESPN now?
I think they just bought or something.
They got Hulu Live TV.
What's that?
So what is that?
They combined it with Hulu Live TV.
What does that mean?
What does that mean
I have no
for
idea.
us?
But they still ain't got TNT and all that stuff.
Well, but you have Max.
I do, yes.
You can watch TNT and TBS on Max.
See, boy, this is the thing, okay? This is the thing about 2025.
Yeah.
I'm not about to keep jumping from
app
to watch stuff.
Well, what are you going to do? You got to do it to watch the Cavs.
I know I don't.
Well, when the Cavs are on TNT.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't. I don't.
Oh, you don't have to. Yeah.
I know somebody that knows somebody that might have hooked me up with some stuff.
Oh, you got to talk about that. He got that fire stick popping.
I know some people that know some people.
Hey, when Fire Sticks first came out, the whole industry was shook for a while. They said, "Oh my gosh, you meaning to tell me?"
Yeah. I'm probably the only person that uses the Fire Stick legally. I think everybody else does all these other things. But
never let black people get a hold of that.
Listen,
it'll change your world, boy. You'll be like, thank you.
All right, we got a lot to get to today. We're going to spend the entire first hour on the Cavaliers. Tomorrow, guys, the biggest game of the year in the NBA so far. The 31-4 Cavaliers will play host to the 30-5 Oklahoma City Thunder. I believe it's the first time ever, certainly the first time in a long time, if not ever, that you have 2 teams at almost the halfway point of the season on pace for 70 or more wins. I don't know if it's ever been the case. I wonder if this is the greatest combined record of teams at this point in the season. It's got to be close.
You're going to find out because that's kind of in one of the stats coming up.
So Mike's got this. You know how we do this McNugget stats for football? We're doing that to just show you how great the Thunder and the Cavs have been so far this season. A lot of discussion about the Cavs in this first hour. Coming up the second hour, we'll have Aditi and Mary Kay Cabot, both to kind of say sayonara to the Browns' 2024 season. And also, we're going to discuss the Browns. We know the Browns' opponents for 2025. Some interesting things on their schedule. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. First, we send it to Mike.
And Tyvis wants Tyreek Hill, so we're gonna
dive
into whether or not he's out of his mind for that. But we're gonna start with the Cavs and something special with the Cavs. If you want to check out the Cavs or any live event, you have to use the Game Time app to get your tickets online. Game Time has made getting tickets to your favorite live events even easier with their brand new feature, Game Time Picks. This feature filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Game time. All right, guys, so I scoured the interweb to find the
Did you go to
best
the dark
stats.
web? Did you go to the dark web?
I went to the dark web. I went to
All
the
right.
light web. I went to the left web, the right web. I went to all the webs
All right.
to find some of the stats that truly indicate how special and unique this matchup between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder on Wednesday night truly is. So I have 9. I have a bonus one at the end to making it even 10.
Okay.
And we're going to go through one at a time and just react to each
All
stat
right.
a little bit. And
Here we
feel
go.
free to ask questions. I'll try to give as much context as I can. But let's start with the first.
Remember, before you do the first, what's particularly cool about this matchup is both teams are going to have the same amount of rest because both teams played on Sunday. Both teams are healthy. This is very exciting that, there's been so many disappointments of Kyrie not playing. I said he was jaking it. Now he's got an injury. Whatever. But looks like both teams fully intact, fully rested, leads to this great information. Okay,
Well, not
go ahead.
100%, right? Because Chet Holmgren's still out for the Thunder, and he is their third best player. But he's been hurt. He hasn't played since
He's been gone for
the
a long
second
time.
week of the season.
Yeah,
We're not 100% sure if Isaac Okoro's suit up, and same with Alex Caruso. They've missed the last couple of games. But for the most part, both teams are healthy and fully rested.
Alex Caruso,
and let's
big
get
part.
into it.
It is amazing that the Thunder have played this well without their third best player.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
It is.
But go ahead.
All right, so this is, speaking of the number 3, this is just the third time in the history of the NBA that two teams have started a season with 30 or more wins in its first 35 games. The Cavs are obviously a league best 31-4. The Thunder, 1 game behind at 30-5. The NBA's been around for a long, long time. Just the third time ever that we have seen two teams with this much success early on.
That is amazing. I'm surprised it's even the third time that it's happened. Was it like Celtics-Lakers in the 80s maybe?
Yeah, it's first time in a long time.
Okay.
Long time. He was like, yeah, that's like.
And maybe in the 60s there was time Celtics-Lakers also. Who knows?
Celtics late.
What's interesting is the Cavs, for whatever it's worth, it's early in the season, the Cavs have had control of home court advantage throughout the playoffs, including the finals, pretty much every day this season, outside of maybe the first week or whatever. When, but if the Thunder win this game, the Thunder, at least for a day or two, will have home court if they played each other because they'd have the same record and the Thunder would have beaten them.
This is messed up. And, I was trying to get all worked up about the game, but it's something about it as we go through this show. Something about this being a Western Conference foe, which kind of makes me a little difficult to really put too much stock in it.
Why?
Because
you won't see them until the championship?
That's like being like, man, I'm in first grade. I can't wait till I'm in fifth grade. Well, you done skip second, third, fourth grade. That's a long time before we see the Thunder. And even if we see them, I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms. The playoff basketball would be different. I think I get up more for the Celtics games, for the guys in the conference, because I know that I got to get through to even get over there.
I get what you're saying. To me, this is I've been looking for a measuring stick for a while because obviously the Cavs have played the Nuggets. But lately, when they've played some of the other good teams, they've been missing stars.
So you like, because you're not a diehard basketball fan. it's like, all right, well, I need to see the what you do against the big boys,
right?
You know
and
what I'm
ultimately,
and so that's I get why you feel that way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And ultimately, as you said before, like this is the regular season. Even if they sweep the Thunder, because they're playing them this today or Wednesday and then next Thursday, even if they sweep them, that doesn't mean like they could go play them in the finals and lose in 5. Just because they beat them doesn't mean they're going to beat them in the playoffs. But at least for now, I want to see how they stack up against the other best team in the league.
Well, I mean, the reason that I'm interested in it, isn't the Thunder like 1 or 2 in defense and the Cavs like 1 or 2 in offense?
They are both number 1 respectively. We're going to get to all those. I promise you, we got
it's
those
coming,
numbers
it's coming.
coming.
Hey,
go
we
ahead.
just poured water all over McNuggets.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, we're getting so this next one.
Yeah.
The 30 wins in 35 games is great, right?
Yeah.
But how about this? The Cavs and Thunder have a combined average win percentage this season of 87.871. That's the second highest average combined win percentage of any regular season matchup in the history of the NBA, behind only
Well,
Golden
that's got to
State
be
Warriors.
after a certain amount of games.
Yeah, after the quarter of the season mark. And
Okay.
Yeah, so
You're
this
right.
is with this big enough sample size. But obviously a 1-1 or 1-0 versus 1-0.
Yeah, right,
eliminate that. The only one that had a higher win percentage combined between two teams was the 40-4 Golden State Warriors against the 38-6 San Antonio Spurs back in that 2016 season when Golden State set the wins record. This is the second highest average combined win percentage ever in the history of the league.
I didn't remember. I know Jason just said yesterday that like everybody thought it was going to be the Spurs playing the Cavs for the finals before we knew how good Golden State was. But I didn't remember the year they won 72 that the Spurs were that good. I don't, for whatever reason.
Wasn't that the year
The
that
Spurs won 67 games that year.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that.
They won 67 and were 6 games out of the 1 seed.
Wasn't that the game where Kawhi Leonard turned his ankle?
No, that was a playoff game. That was a playoff
I
game.
mean, was that the same
yeah,
year?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
the
that-
Zaza
yes.
game, and no, that was the year before.
Oh, okay.
That was I believe that was or maybe it wasn't. Hold on. I'm getting my years confused.
Because I remember people freaking out like they would have lost if Kawhi was playing.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think if it was that year. You know, the Spurs be having these weird years where like it just jumbles together.
Well, they're finally getting back to the playoffs this year, probably.
Yeah, Wemby's that deal. I had seen this stat that came out that
Gee, it was that year. You were correct. It was the 2017 playoffs.
he had like more threes at this point than Steph and more blocks than Shaq, and it was crazy. I was like, wow, this dude different.
Mike, would you trade if you're in theory if you were starting from scratch the NBA?
Wemby's the first pick. It's not
Right?
close. It's
Even
not
ahead
close.
of Jokic because of the age difference,
Not
right?
close. Wemby's
Forget the contract. Forget
you
the-
sprint to the podium and take one.
what's the age difference between him and Jokic?
I think a decade.
Yeah.
Wemby's not 21.
Yeah, you would take him over any player.
It's not close.
What's he averaging right now?
First of all, it is close. You need to cut it out. Because you ain't going to act like it ain't a dude in Milwaukee.
Yeah, he might be like
Wemby
5th or
this
6th.
year is averaging 26 points per game, 9th in the league.
Yeah.
11 rebounds, 8th in the league. He's averaging 4 assists, which is 61st in the league. And blocks, he is averaging 3.7 blocks, which is first in the league. Or 4 blocks, which is first.
What's his 3-point percentage? Because he been clipping them things.
He's shooting
man.
36% on 9 attempts per game.
By the way, when are we talking about Caitlin Clark versus Bronny in a
we can do that later, but that was absurd. That
Crazy.
All right, these nenext 2 stats go hand in hand. We're going to go back to back with these.
Yeah.
We talked about the incredible records. The Cavs are 10-0 against the Western Conference this season. OKC 11-0 against the Eastern Conference this season. And a little nuance to the incredible records. When Dean Wade plays, the Cavs are 25-1. When Isaiah Hartenstein plays for the Thunder, they are 19-1. They are both expected to play on Wednesday.
Something
So
got to give.
one of them is going to suffer their second loss of
That's
the
the
season.
RWS, the random white guy stat.
Isaiah Hartenstein, not white.
Oh, he's mixed, right?
Yeah.
Yes, his father's black.
That's fishy. I don't know if I'm buying that.
I tell you, that's how Cassius Marsh was in the NFL with me.
They should basically choose race by what happens when you get pulled over by a cop.
That's funny. That's funny.
Like basically, that's the telltale sign. If you can fool them, you're in there. Don't hate me in the chat. That was funny. Don't get mad.
It was funny.
It was
That was
pretty
good,
funny.
G.
It was
I
pretty
can't
funny.
even. All right.
Yeah.
That's the records. Now let's
that's
dive into
kinda
some
random,
of the
but all right.
X's and but it 25-1 and 19-1 are not small sample sizes.
No,
That
but because both teams' records are so good, I don't buy the legitimacy of those. No
Just
offense.
saying. All right, next up. This is to Tyvis's point about clash of styles. Elite offense versus elite defense.
Yeah.
The Cavs this season have an offensive rating of 121.3. That's the second highest in the history of the NBA, behind only the Boston Celtics last season. The Thunder have a defensive rating of 102.7 this season. That is the fourth lowest in the NBA since the turn of the century, dating all the way back to the year 2000. So in the last 25 seasons, that is the fourth lowest defensive rating we have seen, and the Cavs have the second highest offensive rating in the history of the league.
This is incredible.
It's lining up to be a dandy, huh?
I'm telling you,
That's
goodness.
crazy. And it's not like the Cavs are bad on defense or the Thunder are bad on offense.
They're both top 10 on the opposite side.
Right.
So now that's big picture. You can say, oh, they beat up on bad teams, whatever. That's not the case. The Thunder have the number one defense against top 10 offenses this season, holding their opponents to an offensive rating, the top 10 teams, these are the top 10, to an offensive rating of 108.2, which is 3.5 better than the Houston in second place. The Cavs have the number one offense against top 10 rated defenses this season with an offensive rating of 121.8, which is 5 points better than the Knicks in second. So not just, hey, we're clamping up bad teams and we are scoring at will against bad teams. The Cavs are scoring against even good defenses, and the Thunder are shutting down some of the best offenses in basketball.
Yeah, now does that factor in if a superstar doesn't play?
No,
Probably doesn't.
If a team's in the top 10, I was going, like currently top 10.
Right, so if the superstar didn't play in that game, that could skew those stats a little. But what are you going to do?
You could also look at the game against Boston that Oklahoma City played on Sunday where they held Boston with Tatum and Brown to 27 points in the second half.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
This is about to be.
I don't.
But the fact that this is on FanDuel TV.
No, this is nationally.
ESPN?
Nationally
it
televised
is.
Yeah.
tonight.
Oh,
Both of the Thunder Cavs
yes, tomorrow,
games.
right?
Yeah, tomorrow's game's on ESPN, and the next Thursday in Oklahoma City's on TNT.
I swear somebody told me yesterday it was on
It might be on both. Is it on both? I mean,
No,
I'm watching.
it's on ESPN.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this.
Yeah,
this may sound messed up.
I got to cancel my plans.
It may sound crazy, but
You ain't worried about it?
I'm not worried about the Thunder like that, man.
It's not about worried.
I feel like
if the Cavs score, what they averaging like what 125 a game?
No, offensive rating is not your point per game average. You're averaging about 114 per game.
McNuggets, am I tripping? Like when I look at this, look at the Thunder.
You better be careful.
No, Mike, the Cavs can't be averaging 140. They got to be averaging more than that.
Oh, 122, sorry.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
I was about to say.
I was thinking when you said they both scored less than 140. They're averaging 122.5, which is the second highest offensive points per game.
Before you say this,
I'm about to say
listen,
this. I'm about to get this off.
SGA arguably is top 3 in the NBA. Go ahead.
Speaking of SGA,
Go ahead.
Man, I don't know, bro. Like, he don't scare me neither.
Man, you better stop.
So you better watch it.
You better
Look,
stop.
I'm just keeping it a buck, man.
You being disrespectful. Right?
Listen,
I haven't seen Oklahoma City play that much. Have you?
You need to stop.
bro, I be seeing
I got an SGA stat coming
Bro,
up.
you need to cut this out.
I see SGA play, bro, and it's just like, okay.
Now listen, last year he was just a mid-range assassin. This year he got that tray on him too.
Well, he fooled y'all. Now because he's shooting threes, it's like, oh, SG. Before he was mid-range king. Before he was doing that. And my thing is, if SGA gets you 35.
He gonna get you 31 at the minimum.
Okay, he get 35. Who else?
I mean, they must have other guys scoring because they're winning every game.
No, but I'm just saying. I get
SGA and Jalen Williams.
I'm about to say Jalen Williams.
They not better. To me, I look at the roster for roster. I'm like, all right, I got Mobley. I got Allen.
You know they just beat Boston, right?
I don't care about that.
And
What
the
you
Knicks
mean you
back to
don't
back.
care about that?
I don't care about that.
They beat Boston and the Knicks back to back on the road.
You know Boston had Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, Derek White, Porzingis.
Here's the thing about Boston. Boston get happy shooting them threes. Boston can get got any given day because they shoot a lot of threes.
They didn't get got last year.
Well, listen, I'm just telling you. My thing is this, man. I look at the Cavs roster from top to bottom. I look at the bench. I like the Cavs. The Cavs bench is better. You got Donovan
Is the Cavs
Mitchell.
bench better though? Like I know I don't. I can't even name most of the guys on the Thunder bench. Man. I bet you Thunder fans can't name the guys on the Cavs bench. They might think our bench is nothing.
Is Dort starts? Does Dort start?
Hey. Dort starts, and once again, I'm not telling you who I'm picking yet.
Lockdown.
But if you go back and look at Donovan Mitchell's historical profile against the Thunder, and really against any individual defender, he has some of his worst performances have come in the torture chamber.
Hey, listen.
The torture chamber?
We're not going to give him no nicknames.
That's his nickname.
What's wrong with you?
No.
That man is Strap City. What's wrong with you?
Bro, stop playing with me,
man. Disrespecting
He is.
I don't feel the
He really is.
I just don't. Listen.
Because they don't got the big names. That's why you acting like that.
No, I look at
their best quality is their defense.
No, I feel that's great. But I feel like when you talk about, this is offense versus defense, this the new NBA. That offense is going to win, bro. You can't lock everybody down.
They did against Boston.
Dude, right now there's a guy in Oklahoma City doing a show like this. His name is G. Billy Bob. And he is disrespecting the Cavs the same way. And if RG would hear it, he'd get mad.
No, Williams is okay.
You out of line.
Williams.
Well, let's get to the rest of the stats, and then we're going to dive into some SGA stuff. We're going to get into some other concerns. And it's all valid. The Cavs are favored in the game for a reason. Let's just make that clear. The Cavs are 2.5-point favorites.
Nice.
Well, no, the reason is they're at home, no? Otherwise, it's a pick'em. Wouldn't it be a pick'em under
Well, they're at home. So
how many points is home court worth in the NBA? I don't even know.
To be honest with you, I have no clue.
It can't. I mean, it's got to be at least 2, wouldn't it?
Listen,
now,
the Cavs have an incredible chance to win this game.
Of course they do. Nobody's saying the Cavs.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like they're in a good spot. All right, next stat here. We got 4 more. The first one, the Cavs enter Wednesday night's matchup on a 10-game win streak. The Thunder are on a 15-game win streak, even though they lost to the Bucks in the NBA Cup Championship.
Oh, that
does not count as a regular game.
Okay, that's stupid.
So technically speaking,
that doesn't.
Technically
I'm annoyed at you for that, Mike. Because last night,
it's by the records.
On my podcast, I was looking at the Thunder record, and I was like, Mike said they won 15 in a row. It's only been 10. What do you mean that doesn't count?
It doesn't count. The stats don't count. It doesn't count against the record.
It doesn't count in the standings?
Not the standings. The stats don't count. That game did not exist.
We count that as L.
That's dumb.
That's L.
I wouldn't even waste my time.
That's L right there.
I'd flame out on
Why
purpose.
did they put it on the schedule then? They should have listed on the schedule.
It doesn't count.
Or it should say exhibition or something.
I'd flame out on purpose.
That's annoying.
But if you combine the 2 win streaks, even though if you want to say the Thunder really lost,
it's still 15
valid.
out of 16.
15 to 16, and the combined 25-game win streak is the longest ever for an NBA game in January. And on that 15-game win streak, Steve, you can take this one. Only 4 guards in NBA history have ever averaged 30 points per game during a 15-game win streak. Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, James Harden, and currently SGA.
Wow.
The first 3 all won MVP their season. SGA is currently the Vegas favorite to win MVP. And this season, SGA is averaging 31 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. Only 2 other players in the history of the league have ever averaged 31, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in a season.
MJ.
Michael Jordan and Dwayne Wade the year they won the championship before LeBron came over. That was the 2007, 2008 season.
What was his average last year? Because he hit about the same stat every game. He was hitting the
SGA last
same
year was
stat.
30, 5 and 6. This year he's 31, 5 and 6.
Excuse me.
That 1 point difference cuts down the list from 6 guys who have ever done it to now just 2, and SGA could do it this year.
That's impressive, man. And he wasn't a big name coming out of college, right?
It was a 13th pick or 9th pick, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty
11th
impressive.
pick.
They traded
11th pick.
Didn't he? Was he with the Clippers?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Clippers. He was the only player in the Paul George trade. It was SGA and 5 first-round picks for Paul George, and it turns out that SGA is just a better player than Paul George by himself.
Wow, and they got those first-round picks, which included Chet Holmgren, right?
Correct.
Oh my God, the Clippers got destroyed.
How many first rounds they still got?
They have 12 first-round picks in the next 5 years.
That's
Oh my God, no, they don't.
Swear to God.
12?
Yeah, they have 4 this year.
good night. They got 4 first round picks.
This year, yes. Sam Presti, Thunder GM, Emerson basketball alum.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Emerson.
God.
Hey, listen. Come on.
That's
Here's another thing.
That's
too.
ridiculous.
See, again.
They fleeced the Clippers for this.
Again,
My God.
this is why people be so knee jerk. They're more than me now.
Yeah.
Now listen,
Whoa.
is this the same Sam Presti that didn't get James Harden to resign?
Correct.
That is the same.
Was
Is it the same?
Was it in a couple million?
Wasn't it the same Sam Presti that had 3 MVPs on one team and a defensive player a year in Serge Ibaka on one squad and didn't win not one championship?
They lost to the Lakers in the first round, and then they ended up.
Fault?
Serge did not win Defensive Player of the Year.
By the way, who's more likely to win a championship in their career as of today? Sam Presti or James Harden?
Sam Presti.
Well, here's all I'm saying. They got all these picks. That's great.
Yeah.
But you got to do something with him.
James Harden's out there looking like he ate me.
No, he looks great this year. He's gonna be an all-star. He's having a great season.
He's not fat anymore.
No,
and also,
he's
he got rid of the fat.
Shows you how much I've.
All jokes aside, I'm not going to hate on the Thunder. All jokes aside, it's a little tongue in cheek.
It's an exciting game.
It's exciting.
No matter how good you think they are, they're good.
You just your confidence is high because of the Cavs.
That's fine. I think I'm expecting the Cavs to win too.
Yeah, I expect the Cavs to win.
But I'm expecting a great game, and I want to see it.
But here's the thing: when I look at the Thunder, I was disappointed last year, McNuggets. You got smoked. You was the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Who they lose?
You got smoked by the Mavs.
Well, and that's why
Did they get smoked
in the semis. Didn't even make it to the West.
What was the
No,
series?
they made the. Didn't they make the Western Conference Finals?
No, they didn't.
Semis 4-2.
Oh no, because it was the Wolves and Mavs, right?
The Wolves and Mavs.
Second round.
But you know what? That's what makes this maybe a budding rivalry. Maybe
They're both on the up and up.
It's interesting because I know that Thunder were higher seeded,
Yeah.
but both of these teams were, somewhat out of nowhere last year. Slow development. They both lost in the second round. Now, more people expected the Thunder to win than the Cavs, but still, both have been amazing this year, but both got a lot to prove in the playoffs.
Yeah,
no doubt.
and they can say the same thing about us.
100%.
Like, y'all got smoked in the semis too.
Yeah.
Well, we had
by the way,
injuries.
Colin
And we
Sexton.
played the Celtics.
Colin Sexton was the 8th pick in the draft. That SGA went 11. So
We
that's
could
a
have
miss.
had him.
That's a miss.
That
We got two more.
Yeah.
Two more stats for you
That
guys.
actually kind of hurt.
This is a stylistic thing to watch tomorrow. So Oklahoma City, we talked about them having the number 1 defense. The Cavs have the number 1 offense.
Yeah.
Something Oklahoma City does that is different than other teams is they try and get you to shoot corner threes. They are okay giving up the corner 3. Oklahoma City allows the most corner threes of any team in the NBA this season, which you would think is the most profitable shot in the association, best thing you could get. However, the Cavs, despite their number 1 offensive rating, the most points per game in the Eastern Conference, are not a corner 3 team. They rank 28th in the league in quarter 3 percentage as a team at 34.3% on the 24th fewest attempts in the league.
Now, wait a second. Aren't the Cavs first in the league in 3-point percentage?
This is just from the corner.
Okay.
This is just the corner.
No,
Yes.
I understand that.
Yes,
but-
they lead the NBA.
So they lead the NBA in threes.
And they're not great.
And
from
yet
the
they're
corner.
not good at the easiest 3?
Correct.
That's crazy.
They're also, by the way,
Yeah.
they're currently shooting 40.3% as a team. If they can continue that for the rest of the season, they'll be the first team in the NBA since 2021 to finish a season as a team over 40% from 3.
Is anybody...
Was the Warriors the other team in 21?
No, it's the Clippers, actually.
Wow.
Really?
Is anybody on the Cavs shooting poorly from 3? I mean, I'm not like Strus, who's played 3 games or whatever, but like...
I'll give you right now, I'm pulling it up,
Yeah.
all their 3-point percentages.
Okay.
And this is incredible, seriously.
40, 50, 40.
Watch what
Isaac Okoro,
Yeah.
49.2%.
That's insane.
50.
LeVert, 44.7%. Garland, 43.1%. Mobley, 41.8. Jerome, 41.6.
Sniper.
Mitchell, 41.3.
Lethal.
Niang, 38.6.
Assassin.
Dean Wade, 36.7.
Sniper.
And then the first guy who's disappointing in terms of what you expect
Yeah.
is Sam Merrill, who's at just 35%.
But that's going in anyway.
What's the average? Do you know roughly what's considered the line, the average?
38%.
So the only one below that is Merrill and
Wade's a half a percentage.
but he don't
point
take a
below.
lot of
But
threes
them
anyway.
is going in. Merrill's is going
That's
in.
crazy.
To give you comparison, and
Yeah.
I did this earlier, Steve, actually, I know you have to move graphics here, but go to Oklahoma shooters. It's a couple up. The Cavs have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys, and I'm not including Dean Wade, shooting above what I believe is league average.
And nobody's terrible. Like, the worst is Sam Merrill. He's not terrible.
Now, look at Oklahoma City, who scores in a totally different way.
Yeah.
They have 2 guys Lou Dort and Aaron Wiggins, who shoot enough threes to qualify that are over that 37% line.
Don't do it.
Hey, very different styles.
It's do not do it.
Your boy, Lou Dort.
Do not do it.
I know 2 Wiggins.
Andrew?
And what's the boy for the corner?
Nate?
Nate and Hey, listen, get up out of here. They're a nice squad, but McNuggets just keeps backing it up.
I mean, they're 30-5.
Yeah, you tripping. You tripping. You tapping into your inner Biggie.
But here's the thing about this. This is why the Cavs, and McNuggets knows this, great offense beats great defense. Because here's the thing, even if the Cavs on volume have a bad shooting night, that means they shot 37%?
Yeah, I mean that first game where they lost to the Celtics, they shot very poorly that night, didn't they? And lost. It was close.
Yeah, DG was 3 of 21.
Right. And he ain't have. Listen, he's not gonna have one.
No,
of them.
that's a one.
This a new Darius Garland. He don't got them.
Oh.
What you mean?
Oh, man!
I already apologized.
I know you did. It caught me off guard.
It caught me
off guard.
Listen, I told you I didn't know that girl. I was texting her, and I would apologize for that.
By the way, I got to go back to this stat one more time, Mike. This is crazy that the best shooting three-point team in the league
is us.
Stinks from the corner, which is the easiest three-point shot. That doesn't make any sense.
Boy, you think for $1 million you get two attempts from the corner?
No.
You think you hit it?
No.
No. And I wouldn't even want to do it because I don't know how I can live with myself with missing a chance for $1 million. I mean, I would do it, but I don't.
McNuggets, you hitting it? Two shots for $1 million from the corner?
From the corner? Yeah, give me one. I don't need two.
Wow.
That's way too
last stat real quick, and then we'll dive into some other things you could ask about. We don't have a graphic for this one, but we talk about net rating, the difference between your offensive rating and defensive rating.
Yeah.
The best net rating in the history of the NBA, the 95-96 Bulls, 13.4 is their net rating. The second best net rating in the history of the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder this year, 12.2. The third best net rating, history of the NBA, the 96-97 Bulls, 12 flat. The fourth best net rating in the history of the NBA, this year's Cavaliers team, 11.8. Two of the top 4 net ratings, which is one of my favorite big picture overall stats to look at to quantify how good a team is playing. Two of the top 4, separated by 0.3, so right within the margins, are playing in Cleveland tomorrow night on national television.
That's pretty incredible. I'm sure those things tend to drop at the end of the season, maybe, as you're playing less meaningful games. But so maybe they'll be lower. But if they're that high now, they'll finish in the top 10, I'm sure, or something like that. But it is pretty amazing. I mean, listen, if the Cavs and Thunder don't get to the finals, nobody's going to remember what they did this year.
Yes.
At least get to the finals.
Well, I mean,
we're seeing historically great play right now from both of these teams.
Yeah, I give you that.
It is amazing.
They balling out right now. I'm anxious to see because it looks like they're quite even. Now, if one team comes out and blows the other team out, I want to see what the reaction going to be.
Yeah.
Because
Cavs haven't been blown out.
You know what they're going to say?
What?
It's a regular season game.
That's why. See, Tyvis, that be messing me up.
That's what they're going to say.
They be like, come on, Julius, you got to get excited for it. But if they really come out here, like if the Cavs come out and smoke them, and I come on here and do my victory laps, they're like, it's just regular season.
They're gonna say, you know what? We'll see again next week.
Our fans won't say that. Now, if the Cavs got blown out, which I don't think they will, but if they did, our fans would say, "Oh, it's regular season."
They'll say next week we'll see what happens.
Right. We got
they play each other next week.
That's right.
But big picture, we'll dive into the things in a sec. We have the best offense versus the best defense. We have a giant team in the Cavs versus a team that plays one guy over 6'5", the Thunder.
That's a problem.
And we know that the Cavs, the little struggles they've had have been against big teams, not teams like this. So it is interesting.
And it could be a favorable matchup for the Cavs in that extent. They also have to guard much smaller guys, which Mobley and Jared Allen are accustomed to doing. It's the best team in the East, the best team in the West. It is the two best shooting guards in basketball right now. Yep. Anthony Edwards is in that conversation, but he's having a down season. And this is exactly what you could hope for.
I think Evan Mobley
televised game.
I think Evan Mobley is lined up for a big game.
Man, heck yeah! Like, see, that's another thing too. When they want to play the death ball lineup, But the difference between what the Cavs is bringing to the table, they got bigs that can switch off all that. You're not gonna if you get Jared Allen on a pick and roll and switch. Yeah, as a guard, you got the advantage, but not crazy. Like, and especially if you got another rim protector down there that can help him out and recover. So, like, I look at it like this, man. If you want to play 6'5" guys, we got 7-footers that's going to move. And now I'm just going to listen. I'm wearing them out with Evan Mobley. Yeah. I'm gonna find a mismatch every time.
I can tell you that we're going to do this a little more in depth tomorrow, but Jalen Williams is going to guard Evan Mobley a ton, and that could be the determining factor on how well Mobley can attack the smaller Jalen Williams, who, despite giving up 6-7 inches in the matchup, does a really, 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 really good job guarding bigger defenders. Let's
How
talk
tall
about
is Williams?
6'5".
You're telling me he's going to guard Mobley at 6'11"? I mean,
He guarded Cat and shut him down.
Oh, Cat is soft.
That's embarrassing.
I'll show you the numbers tomorrow. We're doing a whole video.
I'm sorry. I don't care how good defensively you are. At 6'5", you shouldn't be able to shut down a guy with 7 feet.
I told you I had to leave to do something upstairs after the show.
Yeah.
I'm doing a whole video breakdown on how they switch and how the Cavs should
All
attack
right
that
there,
tomorrow.
Lou
So
Dort.
we'll dive
Let's
into
go.
that tomorrow. But, yeah, it's going to be a fascinating match. We're going to talk about the star shooting guards in this matchup after a quick word from Rocket Money. Has Rocket Money ever helped you find subscription you forgot about or that you weren't paying for twice? It's definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money has made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It even brings everything together in one place. Whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even goals you want to hit this year, Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That is rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
I
Tyvis,
thought that,
I wanna
by the
start
way,
with you on this
correction, I had said the Thunder beat the Knicks and Celtics on the road. They beat them at home.
At home, correct.
Yeah.
Tyvis, I want to start with you on this one because G kind of gave us his initial SGA thoughts, and Bull said he doesn't necessarily have seen the Thunder closely enough to have a great feel on this. But Donovan versus SGA, Tyvis, the two best shooting guards in the league this year. They will both 100% be starters in the All-Star game. How do you compare those two when you look at their games? Do you have one slightly ahead of the other? Do you have them on the exact same tier? How do you look at that individual matchup between the two best players on the court come Wednesday?
That's obviously I say SGA is like a top 3 player in the NBA right now, but I don't think Donovan's like that far behind him. I mean, SGA, like I say, he's really good in the mid-range, and like I say, this year he's took a step back and he's hit them trays that's made him even better as a shooter. I think he's a really good finisher as well, but I do like Donovan's ability to finish at the cup more than I like SGA. He's so filthy. Look, I don't know how you disrespect this man like that. He is filthy. I think Donovan is obviously a better shooter. I like Donovan's heat check a lot more because Donovan, when he feeling it, he just be pulling threes. He'll pull like 5 of them in a row and hit them. So I like his heat check better. But outside of that, I like SGA's game. Outside of those two things I just said, I like SGA's game over Donovan's in every capacity. Well, maybe not as a playmaker. Maybe as a playmaker, I think Donovan may be a little bit better. Maybe not. Maybe not, because he gets 6 assists. He gets 4. Listen, you pulling straws, man. Both of them is really good, but it's going to be a really good matchup. SGA should win MVP this year, even though the Joker doing his thing, and Giannis is – I can't believe I just said that. I just gave it over to somebody over Giannis.
Yep.
But SGA is balling this year, and are they going to check each other?
No. SGA will most likely guard Dean Wade tomorrow.
Well, that means Dean Wayne's supposed to.
Wait a minute. I don't like that. Why he turning it down?
The way the Thunder.
Nah, he turning it down, Mikey. He's supposed to guard.
Lou Dort gets the toughest assignment every game. That's what they do. And they got Case and Wallace who starts on the point guard.
He could at least guard.
They start Case and Wallace for that exact reason. They put SGA, and by the way, SGA is going to make all first team defense this year. It's not like he's not a capable defender.
He turning it down.
I mean, he's better than Donovan. Well, let's be realistic about it.
It's not, but Donovan not that far behind him.
Yeah, but Donovan's not a particularly good defender.
He can be when he wants.
He's 6'1".
But you just said he's gonna be first team all defense.
I didn't say he's as good as SGA. I just said he can be if he wants. Yeah.
Man,
Donovan is not that far behind SGA.
Give me Donovan
But
Mitchell.
you need to stop.
Give me Donovan Mitchell, bro. Yeah, I'm not here glazing.
Mike,
SGA.
how much do you take into account player efficiency ratings? Like, is that a big one?
I mean, historically speaking, Jokic, LeBron, Steph, the best players in the league, rank very highly in that number, yes.
Because for whatever it's worth, and you could throw it away if you want, SGA is second in player efficiency ratings. Donovan Mitchell's 33rd.
Part of that's the minutes.
Listen, I just seen Donovan Mitchell average almost 29 points while he'd been here. Don't act like if Donovan Mitchell didn't want to get 30, he couldn't get 30.
Donovan takeover is ridiculous. I mean, what he did in the playoffs last year in that first round was ridiculous.
I'm rolling with Mitchell. I'm
rolling with SGA. I'm sorry.
I'm rolling with the home squad.
I mean, I'm taking the Cavs to win, but SGA.
I'm rolling with
if
Donovan
SGA get less
Mitchell.
than 31 points, I'd be shocked.
That's cool. In that L, they're gonna take. Listen,
that's fine.
Hey,
the question is, who is the number one shooting guard in the NBA?
I'm going
SGA.
I'm going with Donovan Mitchell. First of all, why y'all trying to take him out? He's actually a point guard.
Who?
SGA's a point guard. Why
y'all?
Why don't you?
I don't
See?
Is he a point guard?
Yes, he's a point guard. And they don't want to do that because they want to move him to the 2 guard because they know where the 2 guards out here. Let's move him to the 2. Now, listen, you put him against Luka, and then all of a sudden, I don't know who's going to take him.
Yeah. Anthony Edwards has gone soft. We know that.
Think about that. Think about it. Like, they just moved this man's whole position because there's like 97 elite point guards, and he gets lost in the soup. Now, look, you move him to shooting guard, he's automatically top 3.
I mean, SGA, right? He's the favorite to win MVP this season, so let's not pretend like.
I mean, Jokic should win MVP again.
I'm just saying, regardless of position,
Giannis
he's
should
in
win
that
MVP.
conversation.
So here's
top 2, 3.
Here's the crazy part about it is, man. This is where it comes to that bias.
Yeah.
If the Cavs win 70 games, why is not Donovan Mitchell on that list?
He will be.
What are you talking about?
We ain't heard nothing about it. We ain't heard nothing about we can't even get 3 All-Stars.
Well, we don't know that.
We lobbying for it. But my thing is,
how many All-Stars is the Thunder getting?
2 if they're lucky.
I mean,
how many points
only got 1 less win.
How many points is Donovan averaging this year?
23.
See, that's what I'm saying. It ain't a lie.
But what I'm saying, though, listen, the year that Derrick Rose, they gave him an MVP, he was getting like 21 points.
Was he?
He wasn't smoking nobody like that.
Is that true?
Like, let's get to that Derrick Rose MVP.
There's no way that's true.
Can we get
He was averaging he had to be like
Derrick
28.
Rose, his MVP season averaged 25 points, 7.7 assists.
Light.
What do you mean that's light?
That's light.
That is light. That's
25 is light.
Man,
like
it's more. It was more so what he was doing.
The MVP.
I was about to say.
Here's all let me sum up the MVP.
You had to watch him.
Let me sum up the MVP.
Go ahead, talk.
Steve Nash has more MVPs than Kobe Bryant.
That's wild.
The end of conversation. It's a ridiculous award. It's all much like with Coach of the Year to some degree, which I talk about all the time. It's all about narratives. And it's all about why isn't Jokic going to win this year? He's still the best player in basketball. He's maybe having his best season.
Second.
But it's time for somebody else.
It's time for somebody else.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, if the Cavs got the crazy record, and if they beat what's the name, OKC head to head, why is not it goes to the best player on the best team that hasn't won it ever. And then they usually just give it to you, bro.
Let's see where
that's sad.
I want to see where Donovan is in the MVP
13
in the odds. Is he 13?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
In the latest NBA.com MVP ladder,
That's lame.
they had Donovan Mitchell at number 8.
Look, he's creeping up.
And for the record, they had Jokic number 1.
Who's second?
SGA.
Who's third?
Your boy.
Your boy.
They had Wemby 5th.
List is flawed.
So listen, I want to come off as I'm killing SGA. He's a good ball player.
Yeah,
I like him.
You need to stop.
I like him. But if you're gonna ask me, like, do I see SGA as just getting into the playoffs and just eliminating top teams? Like SGA went crazy No, I don't see that.
He's got to prove it, but so does Donovan.
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
Yeah, but
Yeah, what? What? He got you with that one. Pause, D.
Listen, Donovan, I told you before, Donovan got to get it done. But here's the reality of the situation. We not even really counting on Donovan like that. Like, Darius Garland having
They're asked to do very different things.
Very different.
They
SGA,
are.
SGA is asked to
Carry.
carry the Thunder
Carry.
offense.
That's a fact.
Donovan is not asked to carry Cleveland's
Right.
offense.
He
And that's
did.
part
He
of the
did
reason-
last year.
No, I know, but I'm saying that's part of the reason when you look at the side-by-sides this year,
Right.
the numbers aren't as similar as we've seen in the past.
Right.
And that's-
Donovan being asked
So
to-
wouldn't that make SGA more valuable?
Well, forget MVP. You'd lean towards SGA because he's a better defender. Even if you say they're neck and neck offensively,
he's bigger. He's longer.
If he got to carry a whole team's offense by himself,
Yeah.
that's very valuable.
By the way, the Cavs, I'm looking at the odds to win the championship. And the Cavs, as recently as like 3-4 weeks ago, were still like the 8th choice in the NBA. They're
I
now
got him at
tied
16
for
to
third.
1.
What's that?
What's the odds now, though? I got them at 16-1.
So I got what I'm looking at here.
No, I mean I bet them at 16.
I know you did.
So they're essentially 10-1 because it's plus 1,000.
There you
So
go.
the Celtics are the favorites, the Thunder second, and then the Cavs and Knicks tied for third.
My question to so let me ask a question.
Yeah.
I got him at 16.
Why when you look at the rosters and why when you look at the record, why do you think people believe that OKC has a better chance than the Cavs of winning?
Because the Cavs have to get by the Celtics. And the
Yes.
Thunder
That is a big one.
don't have a team that they have to get by like the Celtics.
That's one of the reasons.
like
The
that.
other is that Chet Holmgren hasn't played in 2 months.
That's true. If in theory you put the Cavs, let's say the teams were exactly the same, but the Cavs were in the West,
The Cavs
and the
would have
Thunder
the
were in the
Thunder
East. The
odds.
Cavs would be
Yeah,
the second favorite
exactly.
behind Boston.
We're gonna move on in a second. But Bull, you said you haven't watched a ton of SGA in your career.
No.
Right? I just want. Let's box this. We have a minute and 30 of SGA buckets I put together.
Yeah.
I just want you to give us some live
I mean,
commentary.
I've seen him a little. It's not like I've never
these
seen
are
him,
some
but
some
not
buckets
enough.
from the last. These are all from the last week from SGA.
Filthy.
So, Steve, you can play this, and Bull, I just want to hear your commentary on
him
All right.
what you see from
filthy.
SGA.
Oh, he did him filthy.
Now look at this one.
That's a nice move.
He
How
did.
tall is he?
6'6".
6'4", 6'5".
That's it? He looks taller than
He's
that.
listed. He has long arms. He's listed at 6'6". 6'6".
Clip.
Bull, your mic's hot. Please give us commentary as you're watching this.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you wanted me to comment. I mean, it's pretty damn impressive. He seems taller. Is his wingspan particularly big?
Very, very long. Yes.
Yeah,
And he has a herky-jerky style. He
Yeah.
does a ton of hesitations. He's kind of wonky, which makes him really tough to guard individually.
right.
He's not super explosive as an athlete. Donovan's definitely more explosive. But he just gets to his spots, and he can rise over people
Look how
in
he
ways.
walks.
He's
walking.
awkward, but he uses it to his
He
advantage.
plays with a ton of confidence. You could tell by the way he shoots the ball.
yeah.
He plays with an incredible amount of confidence, and he's gotten a little stronger and bigger than he was, right? I mean, he looks a little more put together. I feel like in the past, he looked, not that I've seen him enough, but I feel like he looked kind of skinny, and he's still
That's such a
skinny.
tough
But
finish. With his left hand.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty damn impressive. I can't wait to watch it. I'm so excited.
I don't know why G acted like this. I really don't. Like,
Because
you out of your
Well, you're
mind.
making it seem, I feel like you're making it seem that by crediting the other team, we're somehow dismissing the
It's
Cavs.
fine.
no.
I don't see it that way.
I'm not hating on him. I
Yeah.
think it's a preference thing. So like SGA, like he plays this style where I hate when NBA players say this. They just be like, look how under control he plays. He's just getting to his spots. What is that? What you mean get to his spots?
He
Well,
know where
Donovan
he
Mitchell.
know where he can shoot from, and he gonna get there and
he's
shoot
like,
it.
You know, he just look at him. He just plays at his own pace, but he
Yeah.
has a good change.
That's
of
how
pace
that's
and
how
direction.
Luka like that.
And you know he's a guy that can finish around the rim. I like you finish around the rim right hand, left hand. Here's my problem. He plays when you saw that game right there. That was a lot of ISO Joe. That's a lot of ISO ball, a lot of dribbling, 3, 4, 5 dribbles, step backs.
He averages 6 assists.
I get it, but guess what? I've seen the guys do that at a higher level. I done seen LeBron and Kyrie do that. That's very hard to sustain.
Not
in the
averaging
playoffs.
31.
In the play, I seen LeBron do it for 35.
Not Kyrie.
In the playoffs.
But I'm saying, when you get in the playoffs and you got people looking at you, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
All right, I got 2 dudes on you. You have to get this ball up.
He averaged 6 assists.
No. But wait,
Williams
but
is going to have to get me for 30.
to be fair to G, you're saying 6 assists as if that's 10. I mean,
That's
6
6.
is not a huge number.
And he has the ball a ton.
He dishing
Yeah.
the rock.
So
Are they more of an isolation team?
No, they're number 2 in the NBA in drives. The Cavs are number 4. They play.
Okay, so they do
just
move
don't
the
shoot as
ball.
many threes. They're more of a slash cut,
Yeah.
hit a cutter, slash cut. Okay, defense is rotating. I'm going to attack
Yeah.
the closeout and attack.
Speaking of which, Mike, sidebar, because you mentioned him before and I called him soft before, which may be unfair,
Yes.
probably is unfair. Anthony Edwards doesn't go to the basket anymore, right?
He's shooting more threes without Cat on the court.
Yeah.
Teams are essentially just running doubles at him, and he's settling for more jump shots than he should. But the Thunder, not the Thunder, the Timberwolves are just a disaster offensively this year. They have no spacing. Like, losing Cat, they thought they could make up with it with some
Yeah.
other guys. Completely.
And now the Knicks are finding their rhythm after an early bad start.
and so when I look at
Yeah.
the matchups, Tyvis, you look at it, and
Talking about the Thunder, Cavs?
yeah, with the Thunder in general, like when you look at the Western Conference, when you play a team like Dallas, and Dallas ain't even super nice
Dallas
like that.
hurt right now.
They hurt. But Dallas, if they're healthy, they give them a boatload of problems because they got 2 dudes that can do that. Like, they got Kyrie
That's
and
true.
Luka do it.
That's true.
So if I'm
You
playing,
act like they don't play defense.
they do, but that don't be mattering.
They got to prove. Listen,
I don't
No, real quick,
Yeah.
in the playoff series, and then we're moving on to the next topic in a sec, but in the playoff series when they lost to Dallas last year, just like when the Cavs lost to the Knicks 2 years ago, the defense was fine. They just couldn't score. Defense did
Right.
You can only slow down Luka and Kyrie so much.
yeah.
They just couldn't score enough.
Yeah.
This year, their offensive numbers are up. The same question, will it translate to the playoffs?
Right.
Still has to be answered.
Will they have
but-
Chet Holmgren back for the playoffs? Or
Yeah, he should be back in about a month. Should be back
Okay.
in about a month. So,
They better get it right.
Jason and I tonight are going to do an Ultimate Cavs show at 5:30. We're going to do a little more breakdown on some of the individual matchups, talk about some of the Cavs advantages, some of the Thunder advantages, and then tomorrow on UCSS we're going to spend a ton more time breaking down this marquee matchup. We got Cassidy Hubbard coming on the show. She's calling the game for ESPN, or I shouldn't take that back. We're just finalizing a time. She said she would come on, so we're hoping we'll get her on. We got Howard Beck from The Ringer coming on Thursday to help us dissect what we see on Wednesday night, so make sure you guys stick with us for all your Cavs content. We have to do this next topic, though, before Mary Kay gets here, and we can't do it without Tyvis because this is completely revolving around Tyvis. Tyvis, you put in the group chat last night that with Tyreek Hill asking for a trade, you thought it was worth the Browns going out and getting Tyreek Hill. The response in the group chat was, Tyvis, you're an idiot. This is now your
I
chance
don't know that
to...
anybody called him an idiot.
This is now your chance to... well, I'm not going to say what you said, Bull. I'm going to make it sound a lot nicer. Tyvis, this is now the floor is yours to defend the Browns should trade for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, first of all, they ain't gonna cost you nothing but like a 3rd or 4th round pick. That's what I truly believe that. Secondly, what's the one thing the Browns haven't had since Kevin Stefanski's been here? A guy that can stretch the field vertically. I mean, when you put Tyreek Hill in that offense, you put him with Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Judy's a great route runner. He showed you he can do some things after the catch. But if safeties is playing flat-footed because they're not scared of anything, it makes it hard to do. Also, the run game was a huge problem this year. Why? Because those safeties also were playing flat-footed. Therefore, if I'm downhill, how am I going to get the run game going if I got 8 people in the box? How about that? Or 9 people in the box. Like that. If you get Tyreek Hill in this offense, those safeties got to back up. Them corners got to back up, which then helps lighten the box. Those linebackers know, because what's going to happen is in practice, them safeties going to tell them linebackers, hey, I know you got that run fit. I know you got that run responsibility, but I need you to get back and get in this 10 to 12-yard window, this dig window, this over windows to help me out. So now them linebackers in their minds thinking, oh, my goodness, I got to get back in the pass game. And you put them in the bind because that guy has a ton of speed. Then on top of that, worst case scenario, when the last time you had somebody that you could just throw the screen out there and watch him do something magical? I think it'd be nice to do that. Yes. Does he come with problems? Absolutely. But Cleveland is rehab for a lot of athletes out there. They'll get around him, hug him up, make him feel good, and they'll get him to perform. You only need him for about a year or 2. He'll probably play 1 year, and then he'll probably go back to Kansas City anyway. So you're only going to have him for a season. But I do believe that he could be an extremely impactful player under the Kevin Stefanski office. Listen, Marquise Goodwin was here for a cup of tea, and he was behind defenses, but Deshaun just couldn't get him the ball. That was the only problem. He was open, they couldn't get him the ball. Just imagine if you got Tyreek Hill like they're out there. The same thing will happen. He'll get behind defenses. Hopefully we got a quarterback that can get him the ball. But I definitely think he could definitely lighten it, make this offense more explosive. Isn't that what y'all wanted? A more explosive offense? Why not get an explosive player?
How many more years? I think he won a new deal, right?
I ain't giving him a new deal.
Okay, how many years you got left on this deal?
Like 1 or 2.
If they trade him, he gonna want a new deal. They probably won't give it to him. He'll be a free agent. You can let him roll. Man, I ain't got no problem with it. I ain't got no problem with it. I mean, for those who said you're crazy, what's the downside?
So there's a variety of reasons. Number one, it's pointless anyway because there's no way he would accept the trade here. He wants out of Miami because they're not winning.
Right.
Right? You know, I mean, who's the quarterback here? We don't even know who the quarterback here is going to be.
That's fine.
He wants to put up numbers. Number two,
take it to the field.
He's about to turn 31 years old. I understand he's been a great player, but that is off in the age. We saw it with Amari Cooper. I know he's a different type of player. I get it. He had his worst year of his career.
And almost had 1,000 yards. That's better than almost what Jerry Jeudy was doing.
That's because Tua is just he misses 5.
He did that. We just praised Jerry Jeudy, and that before this season, that was his stats.
Okay, we praised Jerry. First of all, I wasn't excited about Jerry Jeudy when they traded for him. Now he had ended up having a good year, but I wasn't excited about it. That was his worst year. 959 yards in a 17-game season is not a good year, especially for a guy who had 1,700 the year before.
Have you seen what they look like when they play without Tua?
Okay, fine. Tua played 11 games this year. In those 11, Tyreek Hill had 3 100-yard games this year. 2 of the 3 were not with Tua. And Tua played 11 games.
How many games?
2 years ago, Tua only played 13 games. He still had 1,800 yards. Tua only played 2 less games this year. And like I said, he had 2 of his 300-yard games were with either Huntley or whoever. I don't remember, Tyler Thigpen, whatever slappy they threw out there.
Skylar Thompson?
Huh?
I think it was Skylar
Thompson. 2 of the 3. He only had 300-yard games and only 1 with Tua. And Tua played 11 games.
11 games is not a lot.
My question is, you're saying that
Plus, he's an asshole.
So
I don't want another bad guy on the team.
So your only concern, is that he had 1 bad year out of all the years where he's made the playoffs every year. He's had 1 bad year.
1 bad year at age 30.
And the fact that he comes off as an a-hole. That's your 2 concerns? So nothing else outside of those 2 things?
I already said he's not going to want to come here.
That's fine. What if he did? Let's take that out because we don't know that. Take that off the table.
I like this.
Now what?
Well, then I lose that reasoning, but I still have that I'm worried about him going over the top. I don't have a
You're worried about him going over the top?
Going over the cliff, over the cliff.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about. I was about to say. I'm sticking. I'm sticking to the field.
I'm worried that at 31 years old, coming off his worst season of his career, where he didn't play well with Tua.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
As a defensive coordinator, your game planning, are you going to tell your safeties to sit at 10?
No.
Then he's better than what we got right now.
I get it, but the Browns can't keep throwing assets at older players. They've got to get younger. So they're not going to be good next year. They've got to get younger.
So we're going to throw a 3rd round or maybe 4th round pick. That's an asset.
It should be if you trust the GM, which I don't.
So what are you talking about?
Tyvis, what is Tyreek Hill going to do for them next year?
So let me tell you this.
Nothing.
So hold on. Let me
nothing.
Did I not just say what I said?
No, but they're not going to win. He's not going to be the difference.
So let me ask you this. So like, would you rather have Siaki Ika or Tyreek Hill?
I mean, come on, that's silly.
That's what they used with their 3rd round picks.
I get it. They made
Perrion Winfrey.
I hear you. The Browns have to get younger.
In there too.
If we're just going to assume that they're going to screw up every pick the rest of the way, then none of it matters because they're never going to win.
What about this? What if you say this? Andrew Berry says he's good at trades.
That's what I was about to say.
Jerry Jeudy turned out to be all right.
That's what I'm saying.
So why the Moore trade was bad?
I'm just saying that he's better at trades than drafting.
Yes. I get it. On the surface, it seems like a no-brainer because he's been a great player.
And it's free.
But he's a bad dude. He's always unhappy, it seems like.
He only going to be here for a year.
2 years ago, Tua was the best quarterback in football. Now he wants to get out of there.
Well, that's because Tua's always hurt.
Things change.
That's what he was saying.
I mean, Tua's missed 10 games the last 3 years. That's not always hurt.
But you know.
I know he's got
he was gone in critical
the Browns
times.
going to be a good team next year.
I have no idea.
If you had to bet right now.
They better be or they get fired.
Whether they get fired or not, I wouldn't. Do you expect, based on what we have on this team right now, do you expect them to be good next year?
I don't know.
Listen, I'm not going to
I got to see what they do.
I'm not going to give them no benefit of the doubt.
But that's not a pass.
I expect
if they're
them to
bad, they're going to get fired.
Do I expect them to be cold? No.
Yeah.
I think they'll be mid-sauce, medium sauce at best.
To me, that's the best case scenario.
What is it bad? What's bad? Like record 3-14? Do I see them being 3-14 again?
Bad is 5. They got at least win 7 games.
If I had to bet right now, I'd bet them on being under 500, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
were you going to bring Tyreek Hill into what's been a mess? It's like they've had so many problems. There's been like character issues. The fans are mad about it. The last thing you need to do is bring in a guy who punched his pregnant girlfriend. With all the fact that everybody's,
I don't know.
I
know he trying to get up
Antonio
Cromartie.
I don't know.
He trying to beat Antonio Cromartie for both.
I know he got a lot of kids.
I know he got some kids.
He got like 3 more, or something.
He might come to Cleveland. He might.
When he was in college, according to this ESPN article, he pleaded guilty on Friday to punching and choking his pregnant girlfriend.
Okay. Punching and pleaded guilty.
That was it when in college?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I mean,
we already have enough fans like upset. It's just like it's not the right guy at the right time. If the Browns were had a great quarterback and they were on the verge of being a Super Bowl team, I'd say, all right, let's go.
My thing is, I'm sticking to strictly on the field.
Well, but there's more to it when it comes to
everything you've told me has been an off the field thing. And
right.
You have not told me on the field why he wouldn't make this team better.
Well, I said that I'm worried he has his worst season and he's getting older.
So you wouldn't take that 959 yards on this team this year?
Okay, I would, but that doesn't necessarily.
That's as worse as it's gonna get.
Well, no, it's not because he's in my.
That's as bad as he's been in the league.
I know that, but he's older now.
But that's as worse as I'm just saying.
Right, but what
you wouldn't take that production on the Cleveland Browns.
Of course I would, but on this team, would it have made a difference?
I don't know.
How many wins do they have? 4?
Maybe.
Why bring him into a team?
Maybe the run game would have looked a lot better because safeties wouldn't be flying up to the ball.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Let's ask Mary Kay that question. We'll bring her in after a quick word from Game Time. If you guys want to check out the Cavs Thunder game tomorrow night, you better buy your tickets using the Game Time app. And right now, Game Time is making it even easier to get tickets to your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. The feature filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. What time is it? It's game time. And with that, we have Mary Kay Cabot joining the show. Mary Kay, we were just discussing Tyvis' take of the Browns should trade for Tyreek Hill, and I'm curious.
I said no, Mary Kay. Tyvis and G both would trade for him.
What say you?
What would you do?
Well, I would first do my due diligence. I haven't really dug into exactly all that went on. I just saw an interview with Tyreek where he kind of walked away a little bit frustrated. But obviously there could be something that could happen there. I would want to do my homework and see where he's at, where his head is at. I sort of think that the Browns have to figure out where they're going at quarterback, what they want to do with their offense. But certainly a player with that kind of talent, I'm always all about upgrading the talent on the football team. If he's still got so much left in the tank, then I would certainly be looking into it.
Tyvis, you look like you won.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. Mary Kay, listen, tell me if you got a guy that's got a ton of speed out there, that wouldn't also back safeties up and help your run game out, which struggled this year. Yeah. Especially if you're going more to the Kevin Stefanski approach.
Bailey Zappi and DTR, he's going to do wonders for them.
It's not just them. It's not. First of all, it helps them out because when the last time you could just flip the ball out to a guy and be for a jailbreak and be like, oh man, he take
Jerry
this.
Judy.
Well, I think they lacked that kind of speed this year. And when you look at the Marvin Mims and those kind of guys that you just get the ball in their hands and they just fly, I do think the Browns need something like that. So I don't know if it would be Tyreek. I don't know if you want to give up those kind of assets and that kind of money. Again, I haven't really had a chance to dig into it yet because I've still been trying to sort through all the Deshaun Watson stuff and try to figure out what's going on there, what the future is going to hold with all of that. But when you look at a top talent in the NFL and that kind of speed, that kind of production, I would always be interested in digging into it.
No way he'd come here anyway.
You saw it.
No way.
Now, from fantasy football to the real gridiron, Mary Kay. Listen, I looked at what they said, and there was a lot of stuff been going around. People have been talking. You got Conklin, you got Andrew Berry spoke, you got Kevin Stefanski speaking, and then the news about Deshaun Watson having a setback. Mm-hmm. You look at it, and now we know the Browns have a number 2 overall pick. I mean, it would be like if Kevin Stefanski really wants his guy and he sees a guy in the draft that he likes, I mean, is there any way that you can go another route at number 2? Because people have been talking about the whole situation with Manning, Arch Manning, and maybe next year is a better look. But like we know, these picks don't come around every so often. This is a number 2 overall pick. You got the pick of the litter. Is this boiled down to if Kevin Stefanski likes a guy at quarterback, he just has to pull the trigger on it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you have the number 2 overall pick and you see a quarterback there that you think can turn into something for you, even if it's not necessarily for this season, if you see a future quarterback QB1 that can get you to the promised land, you have to pull the trigger on him at number 2. You don't hope to be drafting that high again anytime soon. They're going to try to get to winning in 2025. If that turns out to be the case, then you're going to want to take that quarterback this year because you're not going to have a crack at Arch Manning or whoever you like next year. So I think you're going to have to really dig into Shador. You're going to have to dig into Cam. You're going to have to see what you think about them, what you like about them. And there could be a sleeper quarterback in this draft that maybe the Browns like and other people aren't necessarily viewing as one of the top 2 right now. I don't know if that's the case, but I've found over the years that we don't really know what the NFL thinks of these quarterbacks until the NFL personnel guys and coaches get involved in the evaluation process. And that really starts in earnest at the Senior Bowl in a couple of weeks. So I think we need to wait and sort of see who starts to rise to the top and what everyone is thinking about some of these guys.
I can't wait to hear who you decide, because last time you wanted Josh Allen and you were right about that pick. So I'm interested to hear about who you decide out of this one. But speaking of people that's on the team right now, Myles Garrett and Joe Bitonio, do you have any indications on what the future holds with them? Are they going to be with the Browns? Are they going to retire? Is it going to be a trade? Is it going to be an extension? Have you dug into those things with Myles and obviously weighed in on Joe Bitonio?
Well, both of those guys heard in their exit meetings from the Cleveland Browns that the Browns are going to try to get to winning next year, which was the prerequisite for everything else. Then they're going to take their time. They're going to see how their bodies feel. They're going to see what comes next. And Myles, of course, told us after the game that extension talks are probably going to be part of whatever happens over the next couple of months with him. He's going to want to sweeten the pot a little bit if he's going to come back here. Call it maybe like losing pay or uncertain pay in terms of being able to contend for a Super Bowl. But his contract is up after 2026. He is the 5th highest paid edge rusher at $25 million. I'm sure he says over and over and over again that he's the best in the NFL. They say he's the best in the NFL. If that's the case, then why is he so far below Nick Bosa, who is now averaging $34 million a year? So he's going to want the pot sweetened. And so, yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. As far as Joel is concerned, I sort of feel like he's going to come back. I don't know for sure. I don't have any inside intel on that, but it's the last year of his contract coming up, and he played at a very, very high level this year, and I think that's meaningful. So if those guys tried to talk him into coming back and he sees that there's going to be some good quarterback play, that they're going to run the football, which they have to, then I think there's a good chance he can come back too.
Mary Kay, going back to Deshaun Watson for a second, obviously it was clear. I mean, you towards the end of the press conference, you set Andrew Berry up to fight for Deshaun Watson a little bit. You're like, if he's healthy, can he still play at an elite level? And his only answer was, Mary Kay, he's just got to get healthy. That was it. So that told me all I needed to know between the lines. But what is with the injury? Well, have you been able to find anything out in the 24 some odd hours since the press conference?
No, the only thing I did find out is that he will probably be on his way down to North Carolina to see Bob Anderson again and to try to evaluate if he needs another surgery. And if he does need this thing repaired again, I think he's out for the 2025 season. I mean, I just don't know how you can try to come back from another surgery that you're going to have in January, maybe even February after you do all your due diligence, and try to be back on the football field by the start of the season. I think that would be very difficult. But I think the Browns weren't really planning on him necessarily being their starting quarterback from the jump. If anything, maybe he would have ended up as the number 2 next season. So now those plans have kind of changed. But I do think that if you're feeling something isn't right with your ruptured Achilles, that screams to me another procedure. Not sure it's going to happen, but that's what it feels like to me right now.
Mary Kay, another injury. This JOK story is fascinating and very sad. When he first got hurt, I don't remember at the time any of us thinking it was a big deal. And then I remember you coming on, I don't know if it was that week or the week after, and I feel like you were the first to say, hey, this is a bigger deal than just a typical injury. He's not coming back this year, because I didn't think any of us thought that initially. And you've been, talking about that all year. And after hearing from Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry about JOK, my concerns that you had already brought up high went through the roof, because the fact that they're still not sure all these months later if he's going to be able to play next year, and obviously beyond playing, just for his health and his life as a human being, this sucks from a football and a person standpoint. It's scary.
Yes, it really does. First and foremost, everyone is hoping the best from a health standpoint for JOK, and it's so unfortunate that this happened and that he's still having to work through whether or not he is going to be able to come back and play football. He obviously wants to. He's going around to different doctors trying to get answers. So he hopes to come back and play. But anytime we've asked the Cleveland Browns about that, all we've gotten is we're hopeful. We are hopeful, or we're hoping for it. So, that's a whole lot different than saying we're confident, we're optimistic.
Right.
They're hopeful means there is a chance, and we can say it. We can say no one knows if JOK is going to be able to make it back onto the football field after this very, very scary neck injury. Again, the Browns are all hopeful. I know that he's hopeful, and all of Browns fans are too. So hopefully he can. But for right now, no one knows the answer to that.
Mary Kay, we know the Browns are in the process of hiring a new offensive coordinator. Do you have a sense of what qualities Kevin Stefanski may be looking for in this next hire? Does it have to be someone he's worked with before? Does it have to be someone who has play calling experience? Is that all up in the air? What sense do you get in terms of what Kevin's looking for in terms of making this hire?
Whoever can come in and help him run an explosive offense, that is what he's looking for. They have to be able to obviously score some points. That's what they really, really need right now. So that's what he's got to look for. Anything else, there are no hard and fast rules on what he's looking for. It doesn't have to be somebody he's worked with. It doesn't have to be somebody with OC experience or play calling experience. It has to be a bright offensive mind who can get the most out of their next quarterback and this whole entire offense. What I think they need is alignment on the offensive side of the ball. Everyone has to be working in concert, and no one really was this year. No one was on the same page with what they were trying to do, and it just was a dysfunctional mess. And that's so sad. It really is, because they had some talent on this football team, and they just weren't able to maximize any of it. So, except for maybe Jerry Jeudy. I mean, you can honestly say that Jerry Jeudy had a great season, and we're seeing there was off to a really good start before he missed the final 6 games of the season with a concussion, which is another concern on this football team right now. But I think really just looking for a really bright mind. You have to find one of those next Kevin O'Connells or someone in that Sean McVay realm or family, someone that is just a brilliant offensive mind, play caller perhaps, that can come in here and get the Browns on a points scoring track.
Speaking of play caller, if you had to bet right now, what's your best guess as to whether Kevin will go back to calling plays or not? Or does it depend on who he hires?
It totally depends on who he hires. If he hires someone that has play calling experience and ability, he will willingly turn that over, just like he did mid-season to Ken Dorsey. So I don't think that's an issue for him at all. I think he will absolutely be willing to do that for the right person. So he'll keep it himself or take it back himself if that's what's best for the football team. But if he finds someone who, and a lot of times you have to give play calling to the coordinator or they're not going to come here. The best and brightest coordinators in the NFL are probably going to require some form of play calling, whether it's a collaboration or whether they're doing it outright from the jump. But you're not going to get somebody that's absolutely amazing and not at least consider giving them that chore.
Mary Kay, and you hear the way Andrew Berry talked about it. And he said, we get it. It wasn't good enough. This was a bad season by so many different metrics. Do you feel like they're going to have a renewed sense of, not to say that they were asleep at the wheel or anything, but do you think they'll have a renewed sense of urgency about the results, the wins, the losses, some of the different things? Because next year, you look at it, I would assume that most people that watch the Browns believe that they're already starting off at an 8 or a 9 when it comes to the hot seat meter, given the fact that they won 3 games this year. Do you think that they'll have a just newfound sense of urgency about getting things taken care of and winning games?
Yes, and I think what happened last year is that they got a little bit too complacent with their record, with their number one defense. They ran it back in some areas where they didn't need to do that, where they needed to add, and that they needed to continue to be very, very aggressive with player acquisition in certain spots. I thought they needed a surefire double-digit sacker to go with Myles Garrett in 2024. I thought, okay, Jerry Jeudy's a nice start, but you need to add another Pro Bowl caliber receiver. You can never have too many. I thought that they put too many eggs in Nick Chubb basket, and thinking that Nick Chubb could come back and be your workhorse based on everything that he went through. Then you look at the offensive tackles. I think they overestimated the ability of Jack Conklin, Jed Wills, and DeJuan Jones to come back from their knee injuries. So I think there were some mistakes that were made in terms of the personnel decisions in the offseason, and they have to be very, very careful going forward that they don't make those same mistakes, and they have to do everything they can. And people in the building need to be willing to speak up. I mean, you can't sit back and watch things happen if you see that, hey, maybe we really ought to do this. I mean, they have to be willing to listen. They have to speak up.
Mary, I want to ask you about Andy Dickerson. Obviously, they hired him last year as the offensive line coach. And then I read that Mike Vrabel was down there being like the offensive line coach. So my question is, what did Andy Dickerson do this season?
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, in the beginning of the season, and it was a challenge in the beginning of the season because he didn't have those tackles, and he was playing with the 4th and 5th offensive tackles. So it was a tough gig right from the start, trying to replace and fill those shoes of Bill Callahan. But in the beginning, Mike Vrabel was working with the tight ends a lot. And then it became apparent that he was needed more with the offensive linemen. And it did seem odd that you'd look in the very early part of practice, and it was like Andy Dickerson was off to the side, and Roy Ipstan and Mike Vrabel were very, very hands-on in the coaching in the early part when we were able to watch practice. So Andy was there. He was involved. He was also coaching. But you saw Mike get more involved with those guys like he had been earlier with the tight ends. But I wouldn't necessarily characterize it that he was 100% coaching the offensive line. I think he was spending most of his time there, and it was sort of a team effort at that point, or O-line by committee.
Nicely said.
Yeah. Last thing, Mary Kay, Nick Chubb, I can't remember who asked the question about Nick Chubb in Barry's press conference, but unlike Myles Garrett, I know Myles still has a contract where he said, hey, for Myles, it's going to be Cleveland and Canton. With Nick Chubb, he wasn't as certain that Nick Chubb will be back. What do you expect in terms of his future?
Well, I think we could all look out there and see that Nick Chubb was not the Nick Chubb we all remembered when he played this season. And we all hoped that it was just because it was his first year back. But he's also getting older. Running backs start to slow down a little bit. There's a lot of wear and tear on their bodies. So you never know. A lot of times the second year back from a major surgery like that is your better season than the first one back. But you don't know if it's going to be like that with Nick Chubb because he's going to be then, of course, another year older. But we'll have to see how it goes. It sounds to me right now as though he were almost saying it's over, it's pretty much over, it's done. The only way he would come back now at this point would be sort of on a veteran, more type minimum type contract or a very incentive-laden contract where he could try to make up some of the kind of money that he believes that he's worth, or maybe he'll go somewhere else and see if he can give someone else another good year or two. So it opens the door for Nick Chubb no longer being.
Thanks, Mary Kay. As always, great season. We appreciate you taking the time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me.
You got it.
I'll try to get the Christmas tree down by next year.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Much appreciated.
Great season for Mary Kay with us. Not a great season for the Browns, of course.
Yeah.
And there is one other thing I want to hit on real quick, Mike.
Shoot. Let me just say one thing real quick. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're approaching 50,000 subscribers. We're about 500 away, so help us get there. I want to bring up one other thing that will piss people off, but it's not new for me. And I just want to say, as we start the process of discussing the quarterbacks, keep in mind that most of us, I'm talking about 99%, including members of the media, and 100% including myself, don't know enough to give you a great answer about how good Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward is going to be in the NFL. Let's face it, the NFL GMs screw it up half the time. Okay, so factor that in. Now, something else you have to factor in, and I know some people are not going to want to hear this, but this is just a reality of the world we live in. And I'm not saying everybody's racist. I'm saying that the fact that both of these guys are black is going to factor in because there is, within the league, when it comes to quarterbacks, obviously things have changed over the years to some degree, but there is still a measure of, especially amongst the older members of the NFL front offices, the old guys, there is, whether it's flat-out racism or probably in a lot of cases more subconscious racism where it's like, well, we're used to the white guy being the quarterback. This factors in. It factors into analysis. It factors into how players are talked about. If you go back and listen to analysis of certain quarterbacks, the words people use, some analysts use to talk about black quarterbacks versus white quarterbacks is noticeably different. Now, if you don't like to hear these things and you want to pretend these things don't exist, then you can ignore them and pretend it's not true and give me examples where it's not the case. I want to make it very clear. I'm not saying everybody in the NFL is a racist. I don't think that's the case at all. I'm just saying it factors in. So when you're hearing, he's maybe a little too flashy for a town or stuff like that, especially when it comes to Shedeur Sanders because his dad is Dion. Just keep that in mind when you're thinking about it, because ultimately, I don't know, my first reaction was, well, I keep hearing these guys are not good enough to be the first and second pick. And the truth is, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about Cam Ward. I don't know enough about Shedeur Sanders. Will I watch some more now that they're in the mix for the Browns? Yeah, certainly, but none of us know for sure. But I just think that we saw it was a particularly standout when it came to Lamar Jackson. We all know what what's his name with the Colts said. I can't think of his name. He's like, oh, this guy's a wide receiver, and that's
Bill Polian.
Bill Polian, and I know that was a few years ago now, but that thought still lingers in the NFL in some cases. And there are still people that are like, yeah, Lamar Jackson's great, but, and there's no more but with Lamar Jackson. Yes, he's got something to prove in the postseason. So does Josh Allen. Neither of them has gotten to a Super Bowl. So they both have something to prove. But we know he's a great quarterback. There's no debating that at this point. And I'm not saying at all that Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are Lamar Jackson. Neither one of them plays like him. Neither one's as good as him. That wasn't my point. My point is that this attitude or this thought still exists. I'm not even saying Bill Polian is necessarily racist. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But this thought still persists to some degree through the NFL. It works in reverse a little bit too when it comes to a white corner or a white running back. Those guys are downgraded a little bit. I think that's true too. So that's part of the analysis.
Yeah, Scatterboo I think he's a dog. If Scatterboo was, I don't know, if he was built like Marshawn Lynch and looked like Marshawn Lynch, Scatterboo people would be like, oh my goodness, this guy, who's this guy? I love this guy, man. No, and here's the thing. I think what's going to happen is with the quarterbacks is you gotta look at it as well when you talk about the play style. There's a lot of people that won't want Cam Ward, that won't want Shedeur Sanders because their play style reminds them of Deshaun Watson. And then there's a little flash with Shedeur. And so when you throw that flash in there, you're like, oh man, he's showing the rollie. Like his dad is prime. It's a lot of things. And then plus there's a lot of things that come with it. There's a lot of people it's polarizing with prime to start with anyway. So there's the extra stuff on there. But I do think that there's also sorts of different types of perceptions when it comes to quarterbacks because, to be honest with you, the quarterback represents, when they say face of the franchise, they're not lying. That dude represents everybody. So some people are uncomfortable with people that may not represent them in all aspects of life or not understand that. Now, if you win in football games, we can get behind anybody.
Yeah.
But where it's tough is if you lose in football games, they don't see eye to eye with you, the way you represent the base and the brand, then it's going to be some disconnects. And this is how you end up with people who, I don't like Baker, I like Baker. I don't like Deshaun, I like Deshaun. So I think that's going to play a role into it as well, Tyvis.
Listen, when it comes to drafting a quarterback, I think that the most important thing is, do they fit what you want to do? Obviously, when you look at the two top quarterbacks in this draft, I think G's right. You're coming from a spread style. Both quarterbacks hold the ball for a long period of time. I think that how they're going to be judged is, can I coach this kid out of that? Can I get this kid to be under center and get the ball out of his hands 2 to 3 seconds? Obviously, you see a great talent like Caleb Williams this year. He struggled with that because when he and these two quarterbacks remind me a lot of him. Not the fact of the arm talent and all those things, but the fact that they will give up the short thing to try to get the bigger thing. So they are improvised to get the bigger play down the field. And obviously you've seen Caleb Williams, it was a very down season for him. He had moments where he looked really good, but a lot of it was really bad. And now he has to go through a new offensive coordinator, and they got to coach him out of those bad habits. Same thing is going to happen with these two quarterbacks. It's, can I look at this kid and can I get him to play at an NFL style? Because you don't have that much time to get rid of the ball. You have to be able to go bang, bang, get the ball out your hands because the pass rush is that much better in the NFL. So when you assess these quarterbacks, that's what you're going to look at. You're going to look at, really, it's up to the front office to say, hey, Kevin, you're supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. Can you get this kid to speed his clock up? Can you get this guy to go through his progressions? And I think that also comes with who they decide to hire as an offensive coordinator / quarterback coach. How successful has he been working with these guys? Can this guy also help this rookie or whoever they bring in here get with the program? And that ultimately is how they're going to draft or what they're going to decide to do it to.
Last thing, real quick, with Shedeur specifically, because their offensive line was so bad at Colorado, I think it's going to be really hard to look at his tape and say, well, everybody's like, he plays. He's not in rhythm. He doesn't play in rhythm. Well, when your offensive line stinks, it's hard to play in rhythm. All right, that won't be the last conversation we'll have about that. Aditi's coming up in a few minutes, but Mike's got something for us now.
Yeah, we know the opponents the Browns will play next season. We don't know the order, we don't know the schedule, but the opponents have been set by the final standings being revealed. Let's go through the home games the Browns have in 2025. They have 9 home games this year. Obviously,
Look at that home schedule.
The 3 division opponents, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bengals. They also welcome Tennessee, the first 2 picks in the draft potentially squaring off against each other. San Francisco, Buffalo, Minnesota, the Dolphins, and the Packers. All to Cleveland. That's a gauntlet in its own right. Let's see the road games, then we'll go back and look at the splits here. You have the 3 division opponents, the Raiders, the Jets, the Patriots, the Lions, and the Bears on the road. Well, those are the 17 games. What's your thoughts on the slate of opponents the
So
Browns
what
have?
stood out to me is the teams that I think of as bad teams, and the Browns are one of them right now, but the Browns are playing 5 bad teams, or at least teams I think are going to be bad next year. And 4 of those games are on the road, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Like
The Raiders, the Jets, the Bears,
the Patriots.
And the Patriots.
The only bad team they have at home is Tennessee. I mean, bring up that home schedule again, Mike. This home schedule on paper, and again, who knows from year to year.
Man, that whole schedule look
That
hard.
is brutal. Because they get, usually there are 3 games that you get the benefit of being last place. Unfortunately for the Browns, the Niners finished in last. So
you know what I think about?
They're playing the Niners, who you assume will be a whole lot better next year.
You know what I think about when I look at that?
Yeah.
So you remember last season we talked about when they was at home and they didn't play particularly good quarterbacks at home.
That's not the case here.
They flipped that. So they got some stuff to prove because we don't know who the Browns are. Are they closer to last year's defense or are they closer to this year's defense?
Yeah.
And next year with them quarterbacks and them teams that's coming in here, you will be Jim Schwartz.
That's a gauntlet.
This is part of being in the big leagues. You better have them boys ready to grow for them games at home.
I like what Mary Kay kind of said, bro. They kind of the Browns did. They chilled out on a lot of stuff. They was chilling.
I said that.
They was chilling.
They had false hope. That defense gave them false hope.
They chilled in camp. They chilled on getting pieces and parts. It's like they was like, yeah, Nick Chubb gonna come back and give us $1,500 off a crazy knee surgery.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like in general there was no sense of urgency. You look at that schedule right there, I thought this was a last place schedule.
Right. Well, you think about I compared this. I was looking at it between the Bengals who finished 3rd, and the Browns who finished 4th, and the difference in the 3 games. So think about this: in the NFC West. One of the 3 games is the NFC West. The Browns will play the Niners. The Bengals will play the Cardinals. The Bengals finish 3rd. I think they get the advantage in that.
They got the advantage.
AFC South. Bengals play the Jags. Browns play the Titans. To me, that's a wash.
Yeah.
Now, the one where the Browns get the advantage, but you're supposed to get 3 advantages.
Right.
I think the Browns only got 1 is the AFC West, where the Browns play the Raiders, the Bengals play the Broncos. But that's it. I mean, you combine those 3, I don't know that the Browns have any easier of a schedule than the Bengals do, even though they finished 4th. So just didn't work out well.
And then the Browns,
get that quarterback right.
And then the Browns, they struggle because the Bengals, you lost to the Bengals twice this year, and the Bengals was down.
Yeah.
Think about the Bengals ain't gonna be garbage next year. Like the whole.
They weren't garbage. They finished 9-8.
Right.
Not
But
good
you
enough.
see what I'm
They
saying?
might not have T. Higgins.
They had one of the most prolific offenses in the league. Nobody wanted to play them in the playoffs. I would have never wanted to play the Bengals at the end of the year when they was throwing for all them yards. My thing is, it don't get no easier. Like it isn't like. I'm thinking, you might get the first pick, stockpile some people, get some. Nah, their schedule is tough. It's very tough, especially you get the NFC North. NFC North might be the best league in football. Right. You got the Vikings, the Lions, and the Packers.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's NFC North and AFC East, which also has 3 good teams.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not true. The Bills and the Dolphins. Dolphins, who knows? But the Patriots might be better. Drake May was pretty good as a rookie.
Mike Vrabel will be coaching them. So
I don't know who the Jets quarterback's going to be.
I don't either.
By the way, if the Browns sign Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh, no, I'm cool.
Oh, my God. Go ahead, Mike.
Where did you get that from?
we have Aditi. Let's bring Aditi into the mix after a quick word from Rocket Money. Has Rocket Money ever helped you find subscriptions you forgot about? or that you were paying for twice. It's happened to me. I had a few subscriptions I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them down. It was like having a personal assistant for my finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place: subscriptions, spending habits, goals, all the above. Rocket Money has over 5 million users that have saved over 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That is rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. And with that, we have Aditi Kinkawala joining the show. How you doing, Aditi?
Hey, good morning, guys, or good afternoon. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's afternoon.
Yeah.
I got to give Aditi credit
afternoon.
because
Is it snowing there? Oh.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
No, bring it.
I got to give you credit.
She's like, give it to me.
Give me my credit. Come on.
So yesterday, I made a big deal about, in my 25-plus year career, I made the biggest flip-flop ever. I'm not a big flip-flopper, as you know. But I made the biggest flip-flop, and there it is with my Krebs Classic. And part of the reason I made this flip-flop is, I'm not going to say what you said, but you texted me, you and I were texting Sunday night, I think, and there was something that you said to me in the midst of our conversation that was a big factor into my decision to make this historic flip-flop in my career. On the weekend, for the last month, I've been like, time to move on from Stefanski. And I've defended him for 4.5 years. And I was like, all right, that's it. We got to start over, blah, blah, blah. And Sunday night, I was starting to waver a little. Then you said something to me, and then I went back and listened to Stefanski's press conference, and then I listened to Andrew Berry's press conference. And by the time I came on the air yesterday, I had changed my mind about firing Kevin Stefanski. So I give you credit for being a big factor in that.
Did I tell you something that you can't give me details on right now? Do we need to discuss that later after we're not on air?
What you said specifically?
Yeah, what I said. What were we
I
discussing
don't know
and
if you
what
want me
was
to
it I
say
said?
it on the air, so I'm not sure. So I don't want to take a chance.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, but that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. But that's how much I respect your opinion because you know stuff. I mean, you mix with the players and you mix with the coaches, and you're an insider, so you know things that a lot of the rest of us don't have access to, even members of the media.
And we still don't got access to it.
And we still don't. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Just text me later, Tyvis.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Later, dog.
I will tell you that, and that's probably really annoying for viewers, but that's a piece of how you get information is by not always divulging every single thing that you know.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's easier to share some of those things after the fact. Like, look, I can tell you, the Bills were very, very honest with the Browns about what some of Ken Dorsey's shortcomings were in Buffalo and some of what caused the Bills to relieve Ken Dorsey of his offensive coordinator duties and install Joe Brady. And so if I'm the Browns, and I know that these are the things that Ken Dorsey struggled with. For instance, he is indeed a very, very nice man. He is indeed a good quarterbacks coach. But in Buffalo, he struggled to manage to speak to present to the entire room. In Buffalo, he wasn't necessarily very collaborative with the O-line coach, with the running backs coach. He didn't necessarily take great input from Josh Allen on what Josh Allen wanted to see. And he definitely was not as deliberative or as committed to the run game as the Bills wanted. So, okay, the Bills moved on for him. They put in Joe Brady. You've seen how Joe Brady has helped Josh Allen and helped this Bills offense go to a completely different level. Nobody is spreading the ball around the way that the Bills are. Nobody has the level of unselfishness in their wide receiver room that this group has. Nobody is making faster decisions than Josh Allen is, and look at the way that he's not turning the ball over. All of that is a result of what Joe Brady has been able to do and does do that Ken Dorsey didn't. So, okay, now let's go back to this. These are things that Ken Dorsey struggled with in Buffalo. In Buffalo, they were very, very honest when Andrew Berry called, when the Browns called to find out about Dorsey. Okay, so now the Browns know this. So why don't you make sure that Dorsey doesn't struggle with the exact same things in your building that he struggled with in Orchard Park?
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Ken Dorsey still struggled to present to the entire offense. Ken Dorsey still struggled to be collaborative. Ken Dorsey still struggled to be a clear and precise teacher. You saw. So should we really be so surprised by any of this? No. And oh, by the way, isn't it interesting that Drew Petzing, who P.S. is running Kevin Stefanski's offense in Arizona, is now going to interview for a head job in Chicago? Maybe the Browns should go back to running Kevin Stefanski's offense. What do you think?
Well, Kevin Stefanski flat out said, what was crazy, and I mentioned the other part of my change of mind was the Stefanski and Berry press conferences. They were more forthcoming with information than either of them have ever been. Kevin Stefanski flat out said, yeah, I don't remember the exact words he used. Did you see his press conference on Sunday?
I didn't. I'm sorry. Yesterday was very crazy for me on the other coach front.
Yeah, we're going back to a sound offensive plan. Right? I can't remember the exact words he used, but it was obvious what he was saying. I had my hand forced a little bit last year. It clearly didn't work. We're going to do my thing this year. And that's
good.
Yeah,
as he should. And you know what? He has everything to stand on. It's so funny. I was talking about this with a general manager this weekend, and we were talking about the Browns. It's an AFC general manager, but not somebody in the division. And he was like, Kevin Stefanski would have a job like this if he left. So I don't understand why this past season Kevin Stefanski didn't stand up more and say, hey, I believe in the offense that I run. I believe in a sound run game. I believe that a sound run game opens up everything else for the rest of the offense and takes pressure off of the quarterback. Doesn't require the quarterback to be a hero on every play. I don't know. But yes, again, sometimes you need that evidence that, hey, the other way doesn't work. And so hopefully there's that. But of course, there's still this big albatross of the quarterback question.
Yes, there is.
Or elephant. Or what's the right metaphor, Tyvis? What are you supposed to say? It's the elephant in the room. It's the albatross. It's the whatever the cliche is.
It's a question mark.
The $64 million question.
I think it's elephant in the room.
I just call it a question mark. Yeah. Let me ask you about the defense, more particularly defensive star, Myles Garrett. Do you believe that he will sign an extension? Because he was very... Myles is one of them guys that he leads you to believe certain things. Do you think Myles is signing an extension, or do you think Myles is demanding a trade? Did you see his post-game quote?
I did, and I feel I don't have solid information on this. So this is not something I've talked about with Myles. This is just my feeling, my sense. My sense is that he's turning the fire up on the team and saying, give me some answers, or I want out. And here's why I think that that's fair. I get a vote, as you know, for all of the NFL awards and the All-Pro and all of that. Myles Garrett, for every single offensive coach that I've spoken to this year and every single personnel person I've spoken to, Myles Garrett is the toughest player to go up against. He is the one that can wreck the game unlike anybody else. He demands more attention. He has more moves and ways to win. He is a freak. He will not be the defensive player of the year this year because he is on a 3-win team.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's it, okay? He has more answers than TJ Watt does. He has more natural ability than Trey Hendrickson does. He is simply better than Andrew Van Ginkel or Nick Bonito. He maybe doesn't force the fumbles that TJ Watt does. He's maybe not the leader that TJ Watt is. But as a pure edge rusher, the way that he can wreck a game, the way that he makes offensive coordinators constantly think about him is unlike anybody else in the game. He will not be the defensive player of the year.
Is it going to be Hendrickson?
Because he's on a 3-win team. He's on a 3-win team.
No.
And if all he cares about is his legacy and being a first ballot Hall of Famer and writing things in the record book that have never been written, then it matters the kind of team that he's on.
Yeah, that's true. You think Hendrickson's going to win, Aditi?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Most sacks.
Those are some nice numbers.
But
yeah, but I don't know that you feel him in a game the way that you feel TJ Watt or Myles Garrett or even Pat Surtain.
TJ Watt.
PS2.
To be fair, now listen, Myles Garrett is the best player. I'm not arguing that Hendrickson's better than Myles Garrett. Obviously, Myles Garrett's better. But in terms of Watt's got tons of talent around him on that D-line. Trey Hendrickson has a bunch of zeros on his D-line. Nothing.
Correct. No, you are 100% correct. And this is sort of, if you sit here and you say Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is doing more with less,
right?
Which, the Bills would argue. The Bills like their tight ends, even if they don't necessarily have the same name recognition. They like that wide receiver room a lot, even if there's not a diva wide receiver one. But anyway, if you say Josh is doing more with less than Lamar, then why can't you say Myles and Trey are doing more with less than TJ, who has Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith? But, it's funny because, and Tyvis, I think we already talked about this, the whole Pat Surtain thing, and does a cornerback wreck a game the same way that a pass rusher who gets to rush the passer on every snap does? But, I'll say that I talked to 2 different general managers this weekend who have outstanding teams, who are going to the playoffs, who
must be
I
nice.
Respect enormously.
Must
exactly.
Be nice.
And both said there is a ton of value to Pat Surtain shutting down half the field.
I'm just saying.
And that makes the rush that much better. And yeah, he has only 4 interceptions, but he has no opportunities. This isn't a guy that has so many opportunities. So, again, it's the age-old question, and so much of it is the year and what's happening. I don't think that Josh Allen is such a sort of teetering MVP candidate if Lamar Jackson isn't having such a monster year. I don't know that there's so much Pat Surtain hype if all these other pass rushers have these other sort of detractions or negatives to them. Myles being on a crappy team, Trey Hendrickson not necessarily being all that flashy or naturally talented, TJ playing with such other stars and ultimately being sort of quiet the last 3 weeks of the season. The Steelers needed to end that slide against the Bengals. They're playing at home. TJ Watt is playing against a guy that hasn't played right tackle in years, and then a rookie with a broken hand, and he had 0 tackles and 0 sacks. And I know that on almost every snap he had 4 hands on him, but isn't that the life of an edge rusher? Ask Max Crosby how many times he's one-on-one with somebody. Ask Myles Garrett how many times he's one-on-one with somebody. So, it's so complicated. It's such an eye of the beholder thing, and when it comes to yearly awards, it's not who would I start my team with if there was an expansion draft. It's who's had the most productive year. It's kind of like defensive tackle. You take Chris Jones over Cam Hayward because Chris is younger, but look at the year that Cam Hayward has had. Yeah. And in general, you take Chris Jones over Zach Allen, but look at the year that Zach Allen has had. It's not a lifetime achievement award. It's what have you done this year? And the problem for Myles is that this year, he couldn't help generate more wins for his team.
Right.
Which I know isn't fair entirely, but it's a 3-win team.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Draft Day, right, Aditi?
Oh, it's terrible.
I have seen Draft Day, yes.
So when you haven't cast your vote yet for DPOY, have you?
Nope, it's not due till tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Well, this is what I want you to do. When you wake up in the morning, you write on a piece of paper, PS2 no matter what, and you put that in your pocket, and at 4:55, you reach into your pocket, pull it out, and say, all right, I'm ready to cast my vote. I just want to give you that advice because we need somebody. I don't think a corner has won it since Stephon Gilmore hasn't won it since Stephon Gilmore, right? It's been an edge rusher. We need to end this. Just like quarterbacks need to stop winning MVP, we need to end this DPOY.
It's so funny. A month ago I was talking about the trauma that I'm having with all of this with Rob Motti, who runs the whole thing for the Associated Press. And he said, well, the award is not called the Edge Rusher of the Year award. And I was like, true. It is not true.
Well, that means clip this. Aditi says the Browns should draft Travis Hunter.
I will tell you this. I think it would be an absolute shame if you reached for a quarterback. It would be an absolute shame to reach for a quarterback. And there are sometimes cornerstone pieces that you have a greater sense of security in, and you've got to get those guys when you can get them.
All right, let's get to I'm going to get to this offensive coordinator position. Now,
Okay, Josh
look-
McCown. Call Josh McCown.
Oh, so you
I
didn't
mentioned
already
that
put the names out.
yesterday. Yeah.
That's wild, man. Josh McCown already. Now look, does this hamper this for the Cleveland Browns? Kevin Stefanski, obviously, they want to run his system. Obviously, he's a play caller. Obviously, there's guys in the locker room that want to run Kevin Stefanski stuff. Again, does it limit the opportunity for up-and-coming, really talented coordinators to come to Cleveland because they want to call plays? Is that something that...
Look at all of those guys. Look at all of those guys who were under Sean McVay and never called plays and have become head coaches. Zach Taylor is one. Kevin O'Connell, who will likely be coach of the year, he's another one. Kevin O'Connell never called plays until he became a head coach. Mike McDaniel never called plays until he became a head coach. He was under Kyle Shanahan.
Is that true?
I don't think that hampers
that's a
anybody.
fact.
That's true.
That's a fact.
Mike McDaniel never called a play until he became a head coach. Kevin O'Connell did not call plays until he became head coach. Zach Taylor did not call plays until he became head coach. Brian Callahan did not call plays until he became head coach. So no. And I say Josh McCown because there's an offensive coordinator ahead of Josh McCown right now in Minnesota. So you're not asking someone who's an OC not calling plays to come be an OC not calling plays. You're asking a quarterbacks coach to come and be an offensive coordinator. That's a step up. And you know what? Josh McCown has a history in Cleveland. He is very, very, very well thought of by ownership in Cleveland. Josh McCown is one of the true good humans in this league. I mean, truly one of the good guys. He absolutely relates to players. He gives players the information straight. This is not a guy that is afraid in any way to sugarcoat anything, to hold anybody to account. He is very smart. He recognizes the value of the run game. I mean, I am very, very, very bullish on Josh McCown.
Wasn't Josh McCown wasn't with Carolina?
He was, and then he went to Minnesota.
He was, and he almost quit the NFL after that experience.
Because
he was almost like, I don't want to be any part of that.
Aditi, can they bring back AVP now that he's potentially on the market?
I was going to say, they're going to rekindle that old flame?
In my mind, I think it would be smart. I don't know that AVP would want to come back.
AVP want to call them plays. That's why.
I don't know that's that, but like, don't you feel that he was done a bit dirty last year?
100%.
Oh yeah,
yes.
But Aditi, what if?
But if they offer him $5 more million, he'd be cool with that.
No, but what if Vrabel goes to New England
probably
keeps him in New England, Aditi? He knows the Stefanski offense from here.
I don't think that that's going to happen. But also allow me, Mikey, to say I think that's one of the most unbelievably asinine, stupid things. If there is one thing that we all know, nothing matters more to a young quarterback than consistency at coaching and play calling. There is a reason that Peyton Manning had exactly one play caller, Tom Moore, in his entire time in Indianapolis. There is a reason that Bill Belichick demanded that even as the play callers changed for Tom Brady, that the offense stayed the same. You need that consistency. What AVP did with Drake May, and I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again, that offensive line up in New England had maybe one player on it that could have started on any other team. There was not a single wide receiver who is better than a wide receiver 3 on any other team. There was no run game because of that offensive line. There was a decent tight end in Hunter Henry. There was nothing else. And yet AVP made Drake May better every single week. He improved his footwork. He taught him how to run play action. He taught him how to command a huddle. He taught him how to call plays in a huddle. He taught him how to fake handoffs. Every week Drake May got better. Sean McDermott just joked to me last week when I asked about Drake May. He's like, yeah, can you ask them to trade him out of the division? He was like, that young man is going to be that good. That is all entirely because of AVP. Look at what this kid, Joe Milton, who up until this week had never even had a first-team snap in practice. He'd never even run the Patriots offense. He had only run the scout team offense. He goes out, he gets his first ever start. He's a 6th-round pick out of Tennessee. And I know it was against the Bills' second-teamers, but he looked confident. He commanded the huddle. He read the coverages. He completed passes. Again, that's all a reflection of AVP. So I don't understand why New England didn't just keep AVP until they hired their new coach. They could have made it a condition of the hiring of a new coach and said, hey, Drake made so much progress. We really want AVP to still be here. Or at the least, they should have kept him and said, let's have you talk to the new head coach. And the new head coach will get to decide, but you'll have an opportunity with the new head coach. New England saying, nope, we're just going to move on. Yeah. That's ridiculous. And that hurts Drake May. You know, AVP will be fine. AVP is a very good coach. He has worked with a lot of quarterbacks. His record speaks for itself, and he can get along with just about anybody. I mean, if he could get along with Aaron Rodgers and Baker Mayfield, and Deshaun Watson, he can get along with anybody.
And the
issue is that I worry. Well, no, the issue is I worry about the stunting of Drake May's development. Look at what we saw happen with Bryce Young when he had 3 play callers in 1 year. It's what we're going to see happen with Caleb Williams. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Although Bryce Young,
I guess you were
Aditi, Bryce Young made great progress the second half of this year. They got to stick with him.
Yeah, I mean, he had some consistency. And look, they had to sit him for a while. And they had to rebuild his confidence. But the only reason they had to rebuild his confidence is because of the abject mess of last year. Come on now.
Good job, Aditi. Great to have you as always. We'll talk to you.
PS2 no matter what.
Got it.
Bye.
I hear you.
We'll see you.
Don't know that I'll go that way, but I hear you. And if you want the real juice, hey, just really quickly, Bull, text me and tell me what it is that I said that they then said that made you flip-flop.
I'm gonna do that. I'll do that later today.
All right, awesome.
See you later.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Didi.
Bye.
Didi says she gonna put hands on you if you don't change the format.
I gotta get it together.
So we have Tyvis's chicken guy. He's heating up the chicken right now. Apparently, the oven upstairs is the slowest oven in the world. So we're gonna get some.
Are they cooking the chicken here?
They're just heating it up.
Oh.
But the oven upstairs apparently is moving way slower than anticipated.
Are we going upstairs?
No, they're gonna bring it down. So we're gonna have that either in the next 5 minutes or in overtime while you guys do this.
Should I talk? You want me to talk about Brent Rooker right now?
No, we got 2 super chats.
Okay.
And then we could do a little Brent Rooker, and then we. Yeah. But just know if chicken comes in the middle of anything, Grippy's Chicken is catering lunch for us today. So shout out to Grippy's. All right, 2 super chats. Chris Fox says the SGA Donovan Mitchell debate is dumb. SGA by far 3+ years.
Hey man, stop playing.
That's ridiculous.
I'm going with
that's almost disrespectful, but I hear what you're saying. I'm on your side, but that's a little disrespectful.
Bro, I'm going with the home team, bro. Get up out of here, man. You know it's Cavs over everything. Kool-Aid Mafia.
I mean, I respect the SGA. I would take SGA, but it ain't like you're not about to say 3+ years. That's ridiculous.
Listen,
what does that mean? What is he?
SGA?
He basically saying like SGA light. It's not even close.
Oh, okay.
SGA sound like a debt collector.
What do you say, Mike?
SGA is a little better, but I don't think it's.
But it's close.
I don't think it's light years by any means.
Hey, come on,
those
man,
two, and once again, if you want to argue SGA as a point guard, fine.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Those two, Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker, are the 4 best 2 guards in basketball.
Devin Booker failed.
It's unquestionable. Those guys are in a tier of their own, and then there's everybody else.
I ain't saying Devin Booker fell off, but he fell
Donovan
back.
Mitchell gonna show against SGA why he that dude, and the Cavs gonna win by double digits.
I will say this: tomorrow night, there's going to be a lot of not like pressure, like oh my god, the stakes are so high. The way Oklahoma City plays defense, a lot more is going to be put on Donovan Mitchell than I think we've seen in most games this season. And he's going to have a chance to prove against the best defense in basketball if he can go toe-to-toe with another great scorer.
You said it like they was high school pressing. like they're going to put the full court press on him.
I want them
and
to play
get
their same
up.
style of offense, though. I don't want this to become an isolation game.
No, I don't mean like that.
Yeah.
But I mean in the sense of Donovan has often been differential, allowing others to kind of initiate some of the offense in a game like this, especially later in the third, fourth quarter. It's going to be, Donovan, we're putting the ball in your hands.
Yeah.
Your playmaking is just as important as your scoring in that sense, but we need you to be more of an initiator than maybe a Darius and Evans.
The game will be out of hand by then, Blue.
All right. He's very confident.
Hey, if they smoke him, you're going to come in with a big victory pack cigar on Thursday. I'll tell you that.
All I know is if they smoke them, they need to play. I might swerve him in the corner. Whoa.
They played that at the end of the Hornets game.
I know they did.
As the clock was running out.
They is some savages, man.
And the last super chat comes from our guy Halim. He says, UCSS, the best in the game. G. Bush is in his bag. Tyvis is hilarious. Bull is all in, and Mikey is goated. I LOL my office too much. Thank you, fellas. Halim, we appreciate you too.
We appreciate you, Halim.
Yeah, suckers. Yeah.
I just got a text from Ant. The mac and cheese is the last thing finishing up, and they're bringing it
You
down.
don't know what song I just
Mike,
sang.
I feel like
Bull?
you need to stay here for overtime. Can't you record that
No,
thing?
I literally can't. I have till 1:15 before I get kicked out of the studio. So unfortunately, I have to.
Bull, you didn't know
to
what
go.
song I just sang?
I have no idea.
You know the Ball brothers, LaMelo.
Unfortunately,
okay.
yes.
You know the middle one, Jello.
LaMelo?
He's now a rapper.
Leangelo Ball, the middle
Leangelo?
one, the one that got arrested.
All right. He didn't play in the NBA, does he?
Correct.
He got a G League deal and then
But-
a rapper.
Yeah.
He's put out this song that's went completely viral,
Yeah.
and that's how it goes.
I don't get. I'll never understand. It's. I guess. The dad was such an ass.
LeVar. He
That-
never lost.
Ever.
I don't know why people. I don't know. The older LaMelo's the only one that's good, right?
Lonzo's good.
He's good.
Lonzo just can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
When he's played, he's been productive.
He got G Bush's knees and back.
And neck.
Yeah, best that was
And
probably.
according to Sean
And now,
King,
and now foot.
And my
according to
foot.
Sean King, LaMelo is 10 times better than
Sean King was out of pocket
DG,
with
which
that.
is ridiculous.
By the way,
Alright.
have we had a Twitter handle, G. Bush's broken foot yet?
Not broken foot, but I'm sure it's coming. But that's going to wrap
coming.
it up. Let's set up overtime.
Oh, shoot.
G, please don't actually break your foot. It's liability issues. Galore.
Yeah.
We're going to make overtime public today because we got some chicken coming in and
Yeah.
Ant's coming down. So
Yeah.
I got to run. We'll see you in overtime in about 2 minutes.
All right.
Peace.
Deuces.
Peace. How about